Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tippity Top Podcast, the show where we discuss our top 5 personal picks for random various topics. I am your weeaboo overlord, Tyler, and today I am joined by my weeaboo underlings, Kyle Steinley.
Underling?
That's fucking right. Chipper Thurber.
Yes, senpai.
And the godmaster of all things anime and weeb culture, Cody English.
That's not true, but hello.
As far as I'm concerned, you are the most weeb cultured one of us all.
That's a mistake.
I'm a runner-up, I think. You've been a weeb for longer than me, I think.
Okay. That's true.
Anyway, today we're going to be talking about anime fight scenes. Our favorite anime fight scenes. And this list was hard as fuck to make.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
No?
Yeah. So some ground rules and ground statements. For one, we have not seen every anime ever. In fact, I would gamble to say that we've seen barely any. So keep that in mind. If we don't talk about a fight scene or an anime that you really like, probably just because we haven't seen it.
I mean, there's so many good animes out there. It's like you can't see them all.
It's true. And I mean, there's like a million shows that I've seen that I will not be talking about today that have good fight scenes that there's just too many. I can't put them all in. Second thing, and this goes for any time we talk about anime in any future podcast ever, Avatar and Legend of Korra count as anime. House rule. You can argue in the comments if you want. I will ignore them. I don't give a shit. As far as this podcast is concerned, they are both anime, and we will be talking about them a lot.
Is
At least I
Ruby
will.
an anime?
Yes,
Oh.
that also counts. I hate it, but it counts.
What about Chowder?
Well,
You know
Awkward
what?
in the House.
Oh,
Korean House, obviously, yes.
Duh.
Korean House
Yeah.
is greatest anime of all time, uncontested, obviously. Chowder,
Nah.
it depends on the day. Depends how I'm feeling.
Depends
If we're
on the
gonna-
day.
Yeah,
What day
yeah.
would that pass as an anime?
I don't. Just a good day.
Maybe
If
Thursdays.
if I'm feeling open to it, everything's anime. Hell's Kitchen anime. Gordon Ramsay versus raw chicken,
Dora the Explorer versus Swiper. Is that what it is?
dude. Shin
Benny the
Swiper.
Bull.
I feel like those were the only rules. Oh no! Also, only one fight per franchise, which I know really fucked with some of you when I
Yeah.
told you that.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, and that's just for the sake of variety. I don't want to talk about Mob Psycho like 4 times on my list of 5 things. So, yeah. Those are ground rules for the podcast. Speaking of rules, for those of you who don't know how the Tippity Top podcast works, basically, all we're going to do is we've each compiled our top 5 favorite anime fight scenes, and we are going to go around the hypothetical room, starting with our number 5s, and working our way up to our number 1s, and just talking about them. So, let's start with Kyle.
Oh.
Hit us with your number 5 anime fight scene.
I feel like I'm always. Am I always the first one?
Well, do you not want to go?
No,
someone
I
else
just
can
like.
go.
I've just realized that I think do we start with me a lot?
I mean, I'll take it.
To
if
be
you don't
honest,
want
I
it.
don't really pay attention, nor do I remember.
That's okay. I'll go first.
You'd have
I'm
to
down
be
with it.
on the podcast before we pick you.
Ooh.
All right.
You're busy, Kyle. No, we get it.
I get sick and I'm out of town and I miss 2 and then you guys are just like, this guy's
No,
garbage.
just
2 of the
He
4
wears-
podcasts we've
It's
done it.
good.
Oh, I'm not in half of them.
Anyways, so this was an interesting one for me to figure out because I was very easily able to think of like 3 anime that I was like, oh hell yeah, that's on my list. Then I really searched my inner brain for these ones. So my number 5 is actually from a movie, an anime movie of
Ooh.
Sword Art Online,
Oh.
Ordinal Scale. Now
Okay.
I know what Sword Art Online's reputation is.
I'm glad I don't have to make
You're
a point
good.
of
And
saying
Chipper,
that.
we've had like long conversations about this before. And the reason why I'm picking this fight scene is because in Sword Art Online Ordinal Scale. I guess I should start with Sword Art Online. If you don't know about it, it's like people get trapped in a video game and they have to fight through 100 floors of like dungeons and bosses and shit to get out of the video game. If you die in the game, you die for real. It's the meme, but for real.
Which sounds cool, but it's written poorly. Continue.
So
In certain parts.
Okay.
at certain points, it's written very poorly. The first like 15 episodes are like really good. It's like it has a little bit of like a romance anime kind of thing going on at times.
No,
Got
that's
some
the
good fight
bad
scenes.
part, Kyle.
No. It's when they become fairies it becomes bad. And the guns come in, that's when it's bad. That's when it's really
I only
bad.
care about the fight scenes, Kyle.
Well,
That's what
gosh
we all
darn
want
it.
here.
Get all cultured with your anime. Because there's romance animes that are good. Thanks, my wife, for teaching me that romance anime is good.
Well, there's-
My why?
No, they are.
My wife. So the reason why I'm picking this one is because in the anime, the whole like arc where they're like going through the floors ends, I believe, on boss 88. Because they find out boss 88's like the developer of the entire game, and he's like a god, and he's super good at the game, and they fight him, and like that's kind of where that whole arc ends, and then they like go to a different video game. And it's like, well, what the fuck was the 100th boss then? In the movie, at the very end, a bunch of the characters from like all the different arcs, so some of them I really don't give a shit about, but like some of them I really care about, come together and fight the 100th boss of like the original game. And it's like super sick because they all get like their original outfits back and their original weapons. They come back together and like they have this crazy big fight with the 100th floor boss, and it like really takes you back to like where it started, because it kind of feels like they remembered. They're like, we hear you because you think it went to a really bad place, so here's nostalgic shit from like the first fucking moments where everyone was like, oh, this could be a cool anime. And I really appreciated that.
Oh, that's really cool.
Cool.
Yeah. I would definitely say watch like the first like 10 to 15 episodes of the anime and then watch the movie and be content with your life and don't watch anymore.
Or
Could
it's
you
good to
spoil
just
the
watch
boss?
the movie.
I'm curious what it was.
Wait, the 100th boss?
Yeah, I'm curious now. What
It's
was
like a
it?
giant fucking like cyborg woman thing with like a ton of fucking arms and like can heal herself and all sorts of abilities that she just like throws out at people. And you're like, oh god, they're gonna die. Finally, they're gonna die. And then they don't die.
Oh,
Were there anime titties in it?
Of course there were.
Ooh, boy.
All right, that's an anime fight for me then.
There you go. Man up, give it a try.
My standards are low.
All right. So what do we want to do next? Do you want to do Chipper next?
Let's
maybe?
do rock, paper, scissors. See who gets to go next.
Damn.
Rock, paper, scissors. Go. What'd you all pick?
I
Rock.
picked Rubber Band. I don't know where that came from.
Okay,
Cool,
Chipper,
Cody, you can go next.
Okay. Well, okay. My number 5 is very OG anime. Dragon Ball. Not Z.
PP.
Super.
Super.
Yeah, I mean, Dragon Ball Z had tons of great fights, but a lot of them were drawn out, and they had a lot of impact. But I want snappy fights today.
You're
That's what I feel
right.
like.
You're right.
So I picked Super, and specifically in Super, do we all remember this really cool assassin? The guy who always stuffs his hands
oh,
in his trench coat.
it's my boy, Mr. Pockets.
Yeah, hit.
Hit.
Oh man,
What a name.
What a guy! He just hits you and you die. That's his. That's his
What?
power.
That's not his power, Cody. Explain his power to the uncultured folk in this podcast.
Yeah, his power is to stop time, and he hits you really hard when you're like pausing time, or hits you multiple times when you're paused, and then restarts time. You take all those hits.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So like when the fight starts, like Vegeta's the first person to fight him, and like he doesn't even have like a stance. Like he just stands there with his hands in his pockets, being all cool, like he is, because he's a cool
Exactly.
alien boy in a trench coat. And then Vegeta like runs up to him and then just dies, or doesn't die, but he just like gets knocked out like immediately, and nobody sees anything happen. They're like, what?
well, Goku has an idea, but he's not sure yet. So then when he starts fighting, he takes some hits, but it's like, huh, I see what you're doing. And he figures out, and like he has to like predict his movement and like time his punch before he like stops time, and he like counters it, and he's like, whoa, this guy's crazy. How do you predict it? And it just gets like cranks it up to like 11 near the end when do you care about
Yeah.
Dragon
like-
Ball, Chipper?
Oh, I know I hate Dragon Ball actually.
Oh man, yeah.
It's really
Ah.
crappy to me.
It's just a great fight. Like the choreography is pretty good, and just like Goku does his Kaioken in his like blue form. No one thought that could happen. It happens, and then like, oh, they even have like karaoke during the fight. It's like super good with going Kamehameha.
Wait, what?
Yeah. In like the Japanese dub, when he's going like they put the like words under like highlighting it, so you do it with along with them.
Oh, that's
Oh,
kind of
no.
sick.
I do
like,
not remember that being a thing, but I believe
Yeah,
you.
it's super
That's the
hype.
weebiest thing I've heard.
And the best
That's
part about
incredible.
it, Goku lose. He lost that fight.
What?
He's like,
did.
my Kaioken's too strong. I get out of here. I'll instantly die.
Oof.
So he just jumps out and is like, oh, I'm done. And he like has muscle spasms, like bones are breaking. It's like,
Oh,
if I went any
God.
longer, I would have died. And it's like,
That's
wow,
pretty
that's
rad.
pretty cool. Yeah, that's how it feels. It's like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that
But yeah.
fight was probably like one of the two greatest fights in Super. Probably one of the two greatest moments in Super. And some of the only good moments of Super.
Just pure hype.
It was pure hype. That was like, I loved that fight scene. That almost made it on my list. Legit. Like that almost made it on my number 5.
I have an idea
Um,
what will be on the list, but I won't spoil it.
Yeah. But
yeah.
yeah, like the fight is awesome, especially, but it's like it's just pure Dragon Ball nonsense, but like without they take it pretty far with the ridiculousness, because I mean he's like stacking different forms on top of each other, and then he's like, I'm punching faster than time, so your time skip doesn't work, and then it just turns into this thing where they're like, he's trying to stop time faster than Goku can outspeed him freezing time.
I mean,
and
at least
they, like
it's not
stock
Jim.
up time, and they enter like a pocket dimension or some shit. It's complete horseshit, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's just fun to watch. Like it's so good.
Yeah, Tyler says it all. It's just a great like time.
Yeah.
I still haven't
I mean-
watched any Dragon Ball, but I hear
mean,
so many good things that I just want to really
Just
bad.
watch the fight. Don't even watch the story. It's not worth it. Just watch the fights.
Yeah,
That's
there's
all.
just so much
honestly.
there that I feel like it's hard to get into at this point.
Honestly, what I would do, just get an old copy of Dragon Ball Z Budokai for the PS2, play through the campaign on that, because that'll get you through the story way quicker, and you'll know enough to know what's going on. Because that's what I did. I played that game before I ever touched the show, and that's where most of my knowledge came from. Because full disclosure, never watched every episode of the show because I just didn't have that kind of time.
Does
Wow,
the
what a
bridge
true-
count?
What a true fan you are.
I know what.
Does the
Cody?
bridge count? Dragon
Oh,
Ball Bridge?
Abridged.
I would count it also, yeah. Abridged will get you through it quicker too, and you'll have a lot more fun.
Nice.
Because, I mean, I love Dragon Ball. It's like one of my favorite, it was like my gateway anime, you know? So I have a lot of like childhood personal attachment to it. But boy, is that just the longest fucking show of all time. Like, it just goes on and on and on
Just
and
like
on.
Chipper.
It's just like, it's like 70 episodes
Huh.
of talking followed by like 70 episodes of the same two guys punching each other in the face over and over.
All shooting lasers at each other.
Yeah, everyone just has beams and balls. But it's good. Watch it, you know.
Beams and Balls, the anime.
Yep. Pretty beams, balls, and hair. That's the show
But yeah,
in a nutshell.
that's my number 5. I think
Hell yeah.
Chipper, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. So I'm pulling from the cringiest of the cringe animes because I'm a loser and I don't know other animes.
No, don't.
So I'm gonna start with it's from Naruto or Naruto, as some people say it, and if your mom Naruto or whatever, they don't know how to pronounce it. My favorite character is Daryu, and this fight with him against the Tailed Beast twins is pretty rad in my opinion. It's also very cringy because of the gimmick that the Tailed Beast twins have.
Oh.
But what makes it cool is what Daryu does. But so the fight is there's these two twins that controlled Tail Beast when they were alive, and they have the essence of the Tail Beast in them. And they have these weapons. One has a fan, like a giant metal fan, like the Japanese fan. And it just conjures up windstorms and tornadoes and stuff. And the other one, carries a gourd that captures your soul by making you repeat the word that you say the most.
Okay.
That's where the cringe comes in.
That sounds like Naruto.
Yep. So my boy Daryu, who has lightning powers and wind powers or something like, or laser powers, his word is drab. So he just says it constantly throughout the fight. This is so drab. And then
fuck?
Okay.
they're about to suck him in, and right as they suck him in, he conjures a giant fucking panther man out of lightning and throws it at them, and it swallows them and kills them.
That's hype as fuck.
Damn,
All right.
that is
It's-
anime.
It's pretty cool. Before that, he was just throwing like mini panthers at them made out of lightning, and they were just like, you can't catch us. And then he was like, oh, drab, and just a giant lightning panther comes out from him. And I'm like, what the fuck's happening?
Wow.
Well then.
Naruto sounds like an interesting show.
Yeah, while they're fighting on top of water too. So yeah,
Interesting choice.
yeah. I don't watch too much animes, and they're all cringe when I do.
No, that's perfectly fine. I mean, Naruto is cringy, but it has a lot of good fights in it. So
There are a
I'll
lot
have
of
to check
cool
that out.
fights, but yeah, you gotta sift through the fucking the god awful dirt that is Naruto to get to any of the cool fights.
I don't know. I like Naruto. It's
I
too long.
Yeah, I've wanted to get into it just
Same.
to like get to the cool fight scenes, but then like when I watch the actual show, I'm like, I don't know if I have time
Believe
to-
it.
to sit through this to get to the fights. So
you almost
just
have no
never have.
time. It's way too long, and about half of it is just filler, so it's almost not worth it. But then you get the really cool fight scenes, and you're like, well, now I need more.
Yeah.
Fuels you for the next many episodes until there's another one.
40
Yeah.
episodes. I can do that. I can do it. The fight seems worth it.
Yeah, some of them are. Each season or each like arc has at least like 4 or 5 good fight scenes in it. So
Wow. That's pretty legit. Cody, didn't you start recently watching Naruto?
Yeah, I got to the hidden miss one with Zabuza, I think.
Zabuza.
Zabuza. And Hakugi or Haku.
Yeah, that's an all right fight between all of them. And it lasts. Well, guess what? It lasts a long time.
I've seen it before. I'm kidding. Okay.
Yeah, I could not. I skipped the little kid Naruto, like the original series. I just went straight to Shippuden. I couldn't handle Naruto's voice. It really hurt me every time he talked.
Yeah.
and
it is
he was the
pretty
main
rough.
character.
Yeah. I remember when I tried watching Naruto one time, and I got like 3 episodes into it, but I was like, my ears are bleeding, and nothing has happened of substance other, like, it's just this kid screeching and turning into a woman over and over again. I'm like, I don't know if this is really a show I want to commit any time to.
No. Skip straight to Shippuden. There's so many flashbacks that you get the idea of what's going on.
I mean, yes, but they get like they put the groundwork down in the early stuff, like chakra and all the techniques, all that stuff happens like the first.
Well, here's the thing. They explain all that over and over again in Shippuden,
know.
too. It's so
Yeah,
dumb.
it's true. But,
That's why I
you know,
mean by it's cringy, because, like, apparently, if you've been watching all the way up to Shippuden, which is, like, 279 episodes up until then, you don't know what chakra is, and they're still like,
it's really
oh,
advanced.
here's how it works, and here's all the elements that you can learn with your chakra. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, haven't people been watching this for years?
I guess they just assumed that, like, people were either doing what you did and just skipping straight to the good stuff, so they felt the need to explain it at that point, or they were aware of the fact that there's been so many fucking episodes that, like, people probably just forgot by this point in the show.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like, this has been going on for, like, a decade. It's like, people probably forgot what chakra even does. Let's just throw it back in there.
Maybe, I don't know. It's super annoying to get through it, though, because they take forever to explain everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number 5.
Cool.
Mr. Lightning Panther Man.
Drab lightning panther.
Drab, like,
Yes, yes.
I guess it's my turn. So I was torn with my number 5, whether I wanted to put in a fight from Dragon Ball Super or a classic fight from Dragon Ball Z. And while I think that, like, the internet as a whole would agree that the Dragon Ball Z fight is far superior, Just the sheer hype levels I got from the Dragon Ball Super fight, I think are enough to bolster that ahead of it. So instead of putting on Teen Gohan versus Cell, which is arguably the best fight in the show, I'm going to put on Trunks versus Zamasu because that was just pure fan service for me, and I loved it. Basically, so the whole Goku Black arc, which I think is like one of the only good arcs in Super. Super is mostly trash, but Goku Black was cool. He's a Supreme Kai from another dimension who gathers the Dragon Balls and uses them to wish to possess Goku's body. So then he has Goku's body, so he has all of Goku's strength, and then he murders Goku's family and like all of the planet in this alternate dimension while he looks like Goku, and he kills like actual Goku who's been put in his body. And then eventually the Zamasu from the main timeline like meets Goku Black and realizes that all of this has happened, and they team up for like a multi-dimensional takeover of the world and all this stuff, right? And Trunks, future Trunks, who cannot catch a break, he's the coolest character of all time. He's got a bowl cut and a sword. He's rad as hell, and his timeline has been fucked up again because his timeline is the one that got fucked up by Goku Black. So he comes to the main timeline again to get help from Goku and the gang to help him stop this. The arc proceeds, tons of bullshit happens, and then eventually Zamasu fuses with Goku Black, and then they basically just become God. Like Vegeta and Goku try touching him, and it just like instantly shatters their bodies. Jesus, and he just has like full control over everything, complete God mode, completely untouchable. And it's just like, how are they gonna beat him? My boy Trunks, my favorite character of all time. Granted, this is one fight that I did not rewatch recently, so I forget most of the details of it. But what I remember, and what is important, is he got a brand new form that looks exactly like Super Saiyan, but the hair is spikier. And he does the Spirit Bomb, right? So y'all are familiar with the Spirit Bomb. Puts his hands in the air, he's like, yo, give me all your energy, boys. And then everyone in the world's like, yeah, give him my energy. And he makes like the Spirit Ball, right? So you think he's gonna like throw the Spirit Ball at Zamasu, but he doesn't. He takes the Spirit Bomb and he turns it into a giant fucking sword, twice the size of his body, and then he just cuts this motherfucker in half. And it's the hypest shit ever, just for me personally, because I'm a big Trunks fan. And it was fucking incredible. And I jumped out of my seat, and I was like, yes! And then I realized that I was doing that. I was like, this is really sad that I'm getting this excited about a fight. And, yeah, it's just cool, man. It was just really cool. And then, like, it didn't actually end up killing him. And then Zamasu became the Sky, and they were like, oh no, he's the Sky, we're fucked. and then actual God had to come in and delete that reality to kill him.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
Bunch of horse shit.
Wow.
But yeah, main takeaways. Trunks made a sword out of a Spirit Bomb and cut a dude in half. That's the only thing you need to know about that fight.
That's all I care about,
Pretty
really.
rad. I might check that out.
It's really fucking cool.
I'll have to watch it because I feel like Trunks is the only character that through like the couple games and couple things I've actually seen about it is like at all interesting to me. It might just be because he has a sword. I don't know, but
yeah,
I mean, yeah, that is a lot to do with it.
but yeah, no. Which I also feel as though because I have actually seen the other fight you were mentioning because I've looked it up before, and I do just hearing you talk about this one involving Trunks at all immediately makes me think, oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like the Teen Gohan versus Cell is like it is a better fight, because like the emotional impact of that one is just like probably the highest of like any moment in the show.
Peak Gohan,
where he does like he punches Cell so hard that he pukes up 18 and reverts back to his other form, and then Goku sacrifices himself to take him to another place so that when he blows up it doesn't kill everyone, and then he comes back. And then Gohan fucks up his arm, and he does like the one-handed Kamehameha, and like the ghost of his dad shows up, and it's like and it's like super super fucking cool.
Daddy, no!
But like it's also Dragon Ball Z, and the fight takes like 7 years to get through, and the animation quality is very poor because it's a really really old anime. So like yeah, just out of personal, stupid reasoning, I'm putting the I'm putting the Zamasu Trunks fight over that.
Dope.
Yeah.
I guess it's on to our number 4s now.
I guess it is.
Well, dang. Here it comes. My number 4 is a show that, like, similar to Avatar. It might be argued it's not an anime. I would argue it is. If
Gravity
you'd like-
Falls.
It is. Corey in the house. No. If you'd like to argue with me about it, don't. So my number 4 is from the Castlevania show on Netflix.
I'd count that
Yeah,
as
that's
an
an
anime.
anime. Yeah.
What's an
Yeah.
anime?
So it is the quintessential Dracula fight, where
Oh, man.
Trevor, Alucard, and Sif fight. Well, it pretty much just turns into Alucard and Dracula fighting, because like Dracula and Alucard get blasted into a different room, and Trevor and Sif are like, "We can't fly," and then they like run around the building trying to catch up with them. But I don't know how many of you have actually seen the fight.
Oh, I've seen it. It's
I've seen it.
I think we've all seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the one that kind of came to me like not too long ago when I was trying to figure out my list, because I was like, oh shit, that's an anime. And I have played a couple of the Castlevania games. I shouldn't say a lot because there are a lot but a lot of them are also bad. So I've played a lot of the good ones. And to see this fight play out in this style for me was the biggest thing for me probably overall that made me love it as much as I did, as well as like knowing that it's Alucard, the son of Dracula, fighting Dracula. It's like, oh shit, that's probably pretty emotional. And then the way that the fight ends when Alucard finally does kill Dracula is like actually heart-wrenching and extremely well done by Dracula specifically. His entire scene, because like they're fighting and it's really dope. The actual fight's incredibly well done. I do think the pacing of the fight is probably the biggest thing that I would say is the drawback from it and why it's not higher on my list. I feel as though it's like very segmented, as like Alucard's going to fight now. Sif's gonna fight now. Trevor's gonna fight now. And then they get knocked away and Alucard and Dracula fight. From there on, it's a lot more solid, like tempo-wise of a fight.
Yeah.
But I think, so Dracula throws Alucard into a wall and he busts through, and when Dracula goes to like do the final blow, he realizes he threw Alucard into his room growing up. And Dracula has a really awesome scene where he like is like, I'm killing my boy, and he looks at a picture of his wife who like is the reason why he's like fighting humanity, because humanity killed his wife because they thought she was a witch. She was a witch, but it's fine. But yeah, and he has this beautiful moment, and Alucard just slowly walks up and shoves a stake into his dad, and it is like quite extremely well done. I am extremely impressed by that show, because I was worried when I was like, oh, a video game TV show, it's probably not going to be that great. It's really good. Watch it, please. It's very good.
That is a really good show, and that is a really, really good fight.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. Like, just like the emotional weight at the end of it when he's like, just like stabbing him through like the heart with the stake, and he's like crying, and then because he realizes like, yeah, it's really well done.
I mean,
Right
it doesn't
after-
hurt like that's the whole series is leading up to. That
Yeah,
Dracula
seriously.
fight.
That's
Yeah.
just, it's such like, when you have a fight that is that key to the reason why the show exists, you know that, because like apparently they're continuing the show too, which I'm very excited to see what they do with it. Because they'll go more into the two characters they added into season 2 and everything. But I just think that when you have that much writing on a scene, similar, obviously not the same caliber, but similar to like the weight that Infinity War Endgame had, where it was like years upon years of like, you're getting to a point, like there is like talk about Thanos, you're getting to that moment. With this, it's like, oh, Dracula is the final boss. He's the reason why millions of people are dying, and is the moment. And then the moment he kills him, Sif and Trevor come in, and Sif's like, it's okay to weep for the man that he was. And Alucard, looking at a picture of his father on the wall, he's like, that man died a long time ago. And I'm like, oh no. It's so good. It's so good.
Hell yeah, dude.
It honestly, I thought of it, and it was like I had my 4, and I was just like, where does this land on my list? Like, it's very well done. So I ended up putting it 4 because the top 3 are like all, I think, extremely high caliber in my opinion. Very close fight between 1 through 4 all together, actually. But yeah, definitely watch Castlevania on Netflix. Very good.
Hell yeah. Also, like the choreography and like the animation in like the actual fight part between like Alucard and Dracula is like so good.
Oh my god, dude! It's like
And then
the
there's that
scene
part
where
where he like throws a sun at him, and I'm like, what
Yeah.
the fuck is this?
and then Alucard's just like, I have a sword, and he puts it into the end of the sun. I'm like, what the fuck? He stopped the
Yeah.
sun with a sword.
It's just, oh man, it's so good. That whole fight is just so good.
And it also even has the scene like right before it. I don't know if it's in the same episode or if it's the episode right before it ends with it, where they like entering the castle and they're fighting all the undead army, and like Sif straight up like cuts a man in half with like an iceberg, and I was like, what the fuck's happening?
That whole series
It's-
is really good.
Yeah.
Wow, so good. But yeah, so Cody, what is your number 4?
I mean, it would be higher, but there's better choices. My number 4 is a really hype show. It's about a man who lost all excitement of his life. He's so strong that nothing can beat him, and he is the One Punch Man.
Hell yeah.
Damn.
I had 3 like ideas, the fights I could pick for One Punch Man. The 2 that didn't make it was like Saitama versus Lord Boros, the final boss of season 1, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good fight, but it doesn't have the same impact. The second fight was with Garo in season 2, even though the animation, I know the animation had a huge cutback, but I love the character of Garo, and I just really enjoyed the scene, even if the animation didn't like light a candle to season 1. It was just a good fight, fighting a whole group of like heroes and all by himself, damage over and over, and still beating them down. So good. But the fight I actually decided to go with was when Saitama fought the Subterraneans.
Oh, I don't know.
That is actually probably one of the better fights of the
Yeah.
show.
I mean,
I
it's the first episode.
I forgot about that one. Yeah.
I did too. I have like 3 that I was like going between myself, and I did not have that. I didn't actually have any of the ones other than the Boros v Saitama that I was
Yeah.
like. I'm very
I was-
surprised at that one. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I was shocked when you were just like, it's not the Lord Boros fight. I was like, then what one is it? Like, what could it possibly be? But no, I can respect this pick. I can definitely respect it.
It's the first episode. It's the 4th fight in the episode, and it's just like throughout the entire series, I don't think there's a fight that Saitama seems more happy to have, even if it's a dream. He just seems so happy to be fighting these guys. And like the more you see about Saitama throughout the series, see how like downtrodden he is from all like being at the peak of humanity, like peak of anything, and just seems so excited to be in this fight, feeling that like his blood pumping through his veins. And just like the choreography through the fight, just him putting all his everything into the fight.
It is so good.
Oh yeah, and the animation is just so good. It's so good.
I keep
Like
forgetting
watching
the
that
studio.
scene is just like butter on my eyeballs. Like, oh my god.
Is it like Studio Bone or something? I can't remember. Like they're so good at like animation. Like I can't remember what else they have. I think they do. No, they didn't. Okay, I can't pull up the top of my head, but they've done other stuff that's really good, and just I can't put into words how much I like that fight. It's just so perfect.
I think that like the biggest thing that you said that like made me like consider it being I'm not gonna put it in my top 5, like make it audible, but I think that the fact that like when you were talking about how happy he is in that scene, because you really don't have a lot of fights in that entire show where he's just like, yes, I'm having fun fighting. He like that's the only time that I can really think of where he like felt super good about it and was just like, finally I feel good about it. So that definitely does have like such a different weight for like any kind of fight scene than any other moment in that show. So I'm really glad you said something about it, because I'm glad it's on someone's list, because it definitely deserves a place. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And before I forget, like you can see him like when he first starts out as a hero fighting this like the lobster guy. I mean, you see how weak he is, and he barely wins that fight, saving that kid. And then to see him like at the peak and enjoying it, like he worked up to that, and he should be like proud of himself. But he's just so bored of everything because nothing's a challenge for him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good, like nice to see it. I'm like excited.
Right. And then also there's like kind of the added humor to the end when like he wakes up and then the actual mole people show up and they're just like knee high, and then they just like
just stomps on him.
So
and like,
so disappointing.
Yeah. And then you can feel how Saitama really feels like that's his life.
Yeah.
really does put the entire show into perspective for you. Like gives a little bit like you get a moment through his eyes and his feeling, which is
right.
That's dope.
And honestly, like the fact that that's like the first scene of the entire show, I think is a great way of like introducing you to the character. I think there's like not a more perfect way that they could have set it up than just with this like epic fight scene, and then you realize like, oh yeah, no, like this literally can't happen because everyone just dies instantly. Like, oh man,
that show's really good. That's one that you should all watch for sure.
I love season 1, but season 2 is just so disappointing. Like the story is still good, but it pains my eyes to look at the quality drop.
Yeah, for sure. I think that, you know, like once you like are like a little bit more informed on like what happened to the studio in general with it and everything, and like
right
the inner duelings they had to go through to even get the season out. I was then able to appreciate it a little bit more because at first I didn't know about it, and the beginning of the season I was like, what am I, what, this is One Punch Man? And I learned about that. I kind of accepted that, and I got through it because like the story's still really good. There are good fights even though they're not to the same level as the first season. So I still appreciate season 2, but it's definitely feels a lot different than season 1, which is disappointing.
Yeah, because I mean, I would say like, because season 1 for One Punch Man, honestly, probably like one of my top animes of all time. But then like when season 2 came out and it was just like such a step down, like it kind of made it drop in my rankings a lot. Just because it kind of like took the show down as a whole. Like again, like I understand like why it's like that, and the writing is still good, but yeah, it's really disappointing that you go from like the highest quality animation like ever to like just bad animation. Like
yeah.
Oh
well, unfortunate. Yeah. We'll see what happens going forward, though. I really hope they're able to turn things around a little bit.
I hope so too.
See. All right, Chipper, what's your number 4?
I guess my number 4 is from Fairy Tale.
Oh.
That's how they say it in the show.
Okay,
I don't know if any of you know any of these characters, so this might be hard. I do a little. I've seen a little bit of it. My wife loves that show.
First 5 episodes.
The first arc.
Oh well, Cody might know then. So it's J-Lo versus Urza.
Is that a rapper?
No. No,
J-Lo.
What was that?
Jennifer
Cody?
Lopez is in Fairy Tale? Holy shit!
Urza
Now I definitely gotta watch it.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I remember her.
Yeah, so it's this girl who can summon swords and other weapons out of nowhere.
Oh, and armor, I thought.
Yeah, it depends. I think she changes armor, and that's her weapons depend on that. And she's fighting her longtime friend that she grew up in the coal mines with, who can who all of a sudden can now shoot stars and galaxies and lasers at people.
What the fuck?
Okay.
He is like some kind of cosmic power, and he's taking over the coal mine. He's like fighting back against the people who hurt them as kids, and she's like, no, this is evil. They're not doing these things anymore. And so they fight, and it's just really cool because unlike a lot of the fights in the show, it's not doing like cutbacks to each other, like not doing close-ups of their faces. It's kind of just like one smooth animation because it's such a big fight. And it's just really fucking cool because like Urza's pulling these swords out of nowhere and blocking all of his like star shots, and then she'll like come up and start doing like spin sword kicks and like trying to slash his face, and he'll just like shoot like a giant star out to stop her. And eventually Natsu jumps in and like fire punches him into like oblivion. But it's really cool because it like lasts for a long time because she has chances to finish him off, but she can't do it because she's like, he's one of my great friends. I can't believe he's evil. And so like he'll take advantage of that and start like beating the shit out of her, freezer and crystals and whatnot.
What a nice dude.
Yeah. I like it because the animation quality is just really fucking cool, and it takes like a whole arc to explain their backstory, so it has a lot of meaning behind it too. You're just like, oh shit, they were like really good friends, and well, he's evil now, and she's good, and she's gonna try to kick his ass.
Hell yeah.
Damn. That's one of those shows that I've seen things from. I've tried to watch it a little bit, and I'll come back to it eventually. But like it seems like it's like really really good because like I've tried certain animes and they've just kind of fallen off of them. But that's one that I was just like, I'm definitely gonna watch that one because there's just I don't know, the animation just seems like way more up to par than some of the other anime from its time.
Yeah, it's pretty good, but like I said, most of the fights are kind of just close-ups of them, or like they're not smooth one flowing animation. Like it's not a one shot. It'll just be like, oh, it's a close up of Natsu with his like fire punch, or like he's going across the field with his fire punch, and then the next shot is just they're just connected. There's no like smooth animation and like choreography, whatever that word is, you know. So, but like the story is really cool, I think, of the whole anime, and it only gets better and better because like I think the beginning is so rough to get through. Mainly because of the main character of Lucy, who is just a plague on society.
Yeah, I was not a fan. I tried watching it from the beginning. I got like 5 episodes into it. I was like, I'm told this gets better. Don't know if I want to take the time to find out if that's true or not.
Is there a good jumping in point you can like recommend, or?
I think pretty much right during the Jalil arc, because that's whenever it kind of turns to more it's Natsu's show
Which arc?
than Lucy. Jalil, the whole fight between him and Urza.
Oh, sorry, I just heard. I didn't. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, his name's stupid.
Is there another guy called like Jail or something? Like
that's the same guy. It's I think in the Japanese it's Jail, but they call it Jalil in.
Okay, I was just talking about the Dragon Slayer guy.
Oh, Gajeel, that's
That
who
guy,
it is.
yeah, that's what I've seen. He seems cool.
Yeah, I think that's after the whole J-Lo fight thing. But yeah, the whole like mine arc is a pretty good one to get into just because that's when the fights start getting really cool. It takes a little bit, but
maybe
after that it's mostly just like Natsu's show, which he's not that bad of a main character. Like he screams too much, but like his fights are really cool.
I feel like that's every anime protagonist ever.
That's actually
Could be described as he screams too much.
Yeah,
he either screams too much or cries too much. That's pretty much the entire anime main character.
Pretty accurate.
Or he just doesn't give a shit, like One Punch Man.
Or Ichiko.
Dope. I'm glad Fairy Tail got on this list because I feel like that's one of the higher up classic anime, I would say.
Yeah, some like the fights between all like the dragon people are fucking insane, and once you get up to like the higher wizards, it's just crazy. They're like throwing stuff everywhere.
Cool.
It's insane.
That's pretty insane. Yeah.
You know, some guy just throws a whole castle at somebody. That's cool.
It's not as cool as Lightning Panthers, but I mean, it's fine. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's
I don't know what is much cooler than Lightning Panthers.
Well,
I'll tell you what I think is a little more cool than Lightning Panthers based on rank. So, full disclosure, I wanted to put a Legend of Korra fight on this list because the fight scenes and like the fight choreography in that show is insane, and I love every single fight scene from that whole show. However, even though I've seen that show like 4 times, I haven't watched it recently enough to remember any specific fights, and I cannot find any of the fights on YouTube to rewatch them that are not dubstep remixes or are high enough quality to even see what the characters look like. So I wanted to put a Legend of Korra fight on, but I can't. So instead, I'm going to put on the best fight from Avatar, which is Zuko and Katara versus Azula
Woo!
at the end of the show, the last Agni Kai or whatever. Yeah, it's a fucking dope ass fight. Azula finally like goes off the deep end. She goes like full crazy mode, and then Zuko
Just murder mode.
Yeah. She cut her hair with like a piece of glass, I think. And she looks all like crazy and like whatever. And then Zuko is like challenging her to like a fight. And then it's just insane. Like they're just shooting out these like massive waves of flames at each other. And you just get like the huge like spectacle shots of like he's got like the red flames and she has blue flames and they're just like clashing and like exploding off of each other, and it's just this huge fucking thing.
I mean, aren't they being affected by the Sozin's comet?
Yeah, because Sozin's comet is going over, so the firebending is like amplified. So they're literally just shooting like just insane amounts of fire out of their bodies, just like covering like the entire like battlefield with fire. And then Katara is just kind of like sitting in the back, like waiting for Zuko to like finish her off. And then she's like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot you with my fucking lightning. He's like, I'll just redirect it because I'm edgy and I can do that now. And then she sees Katara in the background, so she fires the lightning at Katara instead because she's defenseless. So Zuko has to sacrifice himself. He jumps in front of the lightning bolt, which the fact he can move faster than lightning is pretty insane. I'm just gonna throw that out there. But
Anime logic.
It's fine.
Not to mention that the explosions that their fire is giving off is the equivalent of a fucking hand grenade. So.
Oh yeah. No, it's like there's so much fire everywhere. Like they should not be able to survive like the heat from that.
No.
But
Yeah, they're firebenders. They're used to it.
yeah, definitely not the most unrealistic part of the show.
No.
Yeah, so he like takes the shot and then he's like down for the count because he just got electrocuted. So then Katara has to fight Azula. And there's not a lot of water there to work with, but then it just becomes this fight of like Katara kind of like tactfully evading all of the crazy amount of bullshit that Azula is coming at her with. And she does really cool stuff, and she's like surfing around on like a wave of like water. She's like turning it into ice and like trying to get away, and it's like really, really cool. And then Katara like lowers her onto like this like sewer grate. And then Azula goes in for like the kill shot, and she just like pulls all the water up and freezes them inside of this giant block of ice. And then she like unfreezes the water around her body and then floats around her and like chains her to the grate and then just like lets the water go. And then they just like leave her there to go crazy. And it's just like the emotional like impact that fight has, I think, is greater than any other fight in the show. Just based on the fact that like Zuko started out as like the main villain, and he's like working with his sister to try to catch the Avatar, and now he's there like fucking her up to like help the Avatar and like go against the Fire Nation and everything. And it's just this like huge like impactful moment that's just kind of the culmination of his story arc. So yeah, it was a really, really cool fight.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love how it's just like they're just sitting there in front of Azula and she's going crazy like a rabid animal while she's chained up. It's like,
oh yeah,
it's
starts, like,
really
breathing
crazy.
fire and stuff. Yeah, and then that's like the pinnacle of like her story arc too, because like the entire show she just kind of gets like more and more of like a psycho bitch, and then just completely unhinges herself at the end there.
I mean, her friends leave her, and then she starts losing it, and then everyone betrays her.
Yeah, that is just such a good show.
It is.
All the
Isn't it
characters are just so well written.
Isn't she like super mad at Zuko because of just because he betrayed the Fire Nation, but because like Uncle likes her more or likes him more or something?
I think
Or
that was
somebody.
part of it.
It was like someone gave him more attention than her.
Oh,
and she
Mother
was
did.
like,
Yeah, it was their mom.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
that
And
too.
That's
Azula
why she
looks
never
like her
liked
mom
him.
too, by the way. They have like a similar face.
Yeah, because that's
I mean,
why
that's not surprising.
she like breaks the mirror and stuff like before the fight happens, right? Because she like sees her mom's reflection
Oh
in it or
yeah,
something.
Yeah.
And then she like breaks it and then like cuts her hair and stuff.
yeah. It's very unsettling how crazy
Yeah.
she is.
They did a really good job with just making her come off as like not mentally stable anymore.
Mhm.
Like she is just like complete psychopath, completely goes off the deep end. and then it just makes the fight like way crazier because like you have no idea what this chick is gonna do. She's just like off the rails, insane, trying to like murder them. Oh man, it's just such a good fight.
Yeah. I was watching that fight and my mom walked in and she was like, "What the hell is wrong with her?
Exactly.
Why is she crazy?"
I'm gonna say something about Avatar right now, and it's gonna be a hot take.
It's not anime.
It's not. No. It's that I haven't seen it before. And
You've never seen it before?
Hey, don't.
No.
A lot of people
Now-
haven't, but
Oh,
you
not
have
being
to
mean.
get
I'm
to
just
see it.
surprised.
No, I know. So it is a show that it was like that Saturday morning cartoon-esque kind of show where like if it came on, I'd watch it and I'd enjoy it. And I never really caught like the entire story of it. I just like enjoyed each episode for like its own little thing. And like I actually did see the scene you're talking about. I watched that. And I thought it was dope. I had no idea any of the meaning behind it, but I was like, this is pretty neat. And but I remember like so many moments of that show that like just none of it makes sense together to me in my head, but I really appreciate it because I was like, this is cool. And I think that at some point we need to sit down and watch all like have a freaking long ass marathon so I can understand the show.
Dude, that's
like
gonna take days.
hell yeah, it is.
But I am down for it. Dude, like Avatar is literally the greatest show ever made, animated or otherwise, in my opinion. Like I have it fucking tattooed on my body, so like obviously this is my opinion on this show. Like
No,
it is
sure.
just it's so well written and it's such a cool like concept and all the characters are just awesome. Like it is like just the pinnacle of writing and the pinnacle of like animated shows.
I mean,
There's
you could do
nothing
an entire
wrong with it.
podcast
It's so
Yeah.
good.
And
Yeah.
it
about
was
Avatar itself.
For real.
it's so good, like even parents can watch it. Like my mom would like we'd be watching it, she'd come out and she'd be like, "Are you guys watching Avatar?" And she would just sit down and watch it with us for like
Yeah.
hours. So I was like, "Oh shit."
And then like Legend of Korra too is like so good also. Like it's not as good as a whole. But like it is more for like older kids. So like it deals with like some darker themes and like the fight choreography is a lot better and like the plot lines from season to season are like because the thing with Avatar is like the overall plot and like the overall story is like really 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 awesome. But like the main villain is kind of one note because he's just like a guy who wants to take over the world or whatever. But like in Legend of Korra, like you get a new villain every season and they each have like these deep motivations for like why they're doing what they're doing. And yeah, it's just like a lot it's a lot darker, it's a lot cooler.
Yeah.
And I've introduced that show to Brennan, who had never seen Avatar and never wanted to see Avatar for some reason. But like I showed him Korra one time and then he just like watched the whole show with me and he was just like super 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 into it. And same with my dad too. Like my dad had like seen me watch Avatar all the time, but like he never, for some reason, he just never wanted to watch it. But then like he watched the first episode of Korra with me like the last time I started watching through it. And then apparently like the next time I saw him like a couple weeks later, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm on like season 3 of like Legend of Korra. Like I just started watching it on my own because it's like super good. Like it's a really good show." I'm like, "Yeah." So yeah, definitely I would recommend checking them both out because they both have a lot of appeal.
Dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wolf is gonna
definitely.
watch it at some point because I have so many people tell me to watch it. Obviously, you do. It's tattooed on your body as a
Yeah.
constant reminder for me when I see you. I was like, oh yeah, I need to watch that show every time you raise your arm up or something.
Yeah.
but no, like so many, especially like recently for some reason, there's been a ton of people that have talked about that show. I don't know why, but like this last couple of months, I've had a lot of people just like I overhear them talking about it. I'm like, why? Like, why is it so like much now? And it just reminds me even more. Damn, I'm lost because I haven't watched Avatar.
Yeah, dude, you have to watch Avatar. Same with
I won't.
anybody who happens to be listening to this who hasn't watched Avatar. Fucking watch Avatar. Like, it is
yeah.
so good.
I'll get
But
back
anyway.
to you all about it, and I'll let you know how it was. And then I
Yeah.
can be another person that goes, watch Avatar.
I've never met a person who didn't like it, so
Yeah.
if you don't like it, you'll be the first.
Damn.
It's true.
Dislike this video if you hate Avatar. Let's get this the most disliked video on the internet.
Dislike this video if you do like Avatar.
Ooh.
Oh shit.
How about you
Wow.
don't do that? That's bad for us.
Who cares?
Okay.
The hate fuels me. Kyle,
I think we're ready for
what's
threes.
your number 3?
Yeah.
We're on number
Yeah.
3.
Okay, so I legitimately have been going so back and forth on what to say as my number 3 because I've been like thinking about it, and I'm like, these last 3 shows that I have on here are like so good. But I'm gonna have to go with One Punch Man is gonna be my number 3. And I also went through back and forth of many different fight scenes for it. For me though, it was obviously the One Punch Man versus Lord Boros scene.
Hell yeah.
It's lovely, and
This is also my number 3, so I'm gonna tag team this.
There we go. Yeah.
Time.
So the Lord Boros scene is not actually my number 3. That's not the scene that I picked. It's
Oh.
one of the ones that it was in contention.
Well, spoilers for later.
Well, spoilers for me. I
Damn.
misinterpreted what you said. I guess.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, no. So that's one of the ones I was considering. Didn't go with it because while it is incredible and probably one of the best animated fight scenes of all time, I don't think it like Cody said doesn't hold as much weight to me personally. Because I think in a fight scene you've got to have both incredibly done, incredible looking, but also characters that you feel are really important to you and like have a lot of drive.
Yeah.
The emotion behind the scene has to drive you, which is why I'm gonna go with the Genos / Moomin Rider versus Deep Sea King fight.
Really?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, because Moomin Rider is the sweetest man alive, and we need to protect him with all of our lives. And and he has like one of the most like probably like if you wanted to talk about like an over like or I guess like a over or underlying entire like theme of that show, it's like how heroes would be viewed by society is one of the bigger themes it tackles, and Moomin Rider is such a great character to show that, where like he is seen as a good character, like as a popular hero, but actually isn't able to fight that well, and seeing him get absolutely smashed by Deep Sea King is one of the most scary things I've ever felt in an anime ever.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's fair.
don't die. And the scene right before it when Genos is fighting him and he like protects the kid from like the poison and stuff, and he's like having like a moment of like, oh, I need to like protect people. It's not just about being strong. Like it's a pretty big moment for him as well as being a really cool looking scene where Genos is fighting Deep Sea King. Obviously then Saitama saves the day and just pa. But that scene holds probably one of the most important like moments to me theme wise over the show as well. And then like obviously what Saitama does at the end where he like pisses everyone off because he wants Moomin Rider to get the credit instead of him and everything. And
I mean, you want all the heroes to get the credit.
Yeah. More all the heroes, including Moomin Rider. Yeah. But so I think that scene probably is the most like this is the show of anything in that show. One of them. I do think there's a lot of other scenes that like show it off very well, but that to me that scene displays that show extremely well.
Like, yeah, overall, I would agree with that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The other one I had in contention was just Saitama versus Genos when they're just fighting each other, and Genos is like, "Just hit me," and then like,
such a cool scene.
Yeah.
That is really cool. It's so short though.
I know that's why it didn't end up. But like, it's like when I think of that show, it's one of the ones I remember immediately, and I'm just like, that was cool and kind of funny, and that like also brings in the humor of that show, because there's obviously that show uses humor extremely well to like do its storytelling.
Right.
But yeah, that is my number 3.
That's a good one.
My favorite part of that fight scene is the clip where Genos like rushes at him from like inside the building, and the animation for that segment is just so like smooth. Where he's like rushing at his face and then he just like punches him. Like that's like one of the clips I think of in my head anytime I think of One Punch Man.
Same, literally
Just that
same.
specific sequence.
It doesn't even have like, because I have that same feeling with like other shows that are coming up on my list where like there are segments that are short that I think are probably the best segments of the entire show, but aren't part of like a huge fight that may or may not have been in my list. But I just like, when I think of that show, I think of that scene and I'm like, God, that looked beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
Damn, anime, you so good.
Tyler,
But
do you want to take yours now? Because I mean, you gave it away, or do you want?
Yeah, we could fuck up the order here real quick.
Go back. To
Yeah.
Yeah. So Yes, because I misinterpreted what you said. I definitely
No,
thought
you're
you were
good.
going for the Boros fight. But my number 3 is Saitama versus Boros. And I know all of you are like, but Tyler, there's no emotional weight to that fight. It's just pure, like, visual flair. Fuck yes, it's
Okay.
pure visual
Yeah.
flair, and it's the greatest looking fight scene that's ever been animated ever. And as just, like, a fan of animation, like, I just get a rigid boner every time I watch that fight. Like, I watched it before this podcast. I was going to have it as my number 5 because there was no emotional weight. But upon rewatching it, I was like, it looks so good. I cannot rank it anywhere below, like, 3. Because it is literally the most well-animated fight scene, like, probably ever. It's so fucking cool looking. That is the only reason I have it on the list.
Yeah.
It's pure visual insanity. Like, oh my god.
There is one thing I want to say about that fight.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, if Saitama wasn't there, the world would be destroyed. Because
That is
Boros
true.
is a god,
Yeah.
basically. I mean,
And he takes, like, multiple hits from Saitama, which is, like, up until that point in the show, has
That's
never
unheard
ever
of, yeah.
happened. You know, he insta-kills everybody, and this dude, like, takes a punch and then survives, and then takes more punches. Eventually, he dies.
yeah.
Spoilers, I
But,
guess.
like, yeah.
But
I guess.
that's all. This entire podcast is a spoiler warning because we're just gonna
Yeah.
geek out about anything.
Like, there's the part where he, like, Boros, like, transforms, and his body just becomes, like, lightning, and he has, like, the hair, and he just, like, it's super cool looking, and he just, like, punches Saitama into the fucking moon, and then Saitama's just up there on the moon, and then he jumps back down while Boros is just like, I can't use that form very often. It takes all the energy out of my body. I have less years of my life now because I exerted so much energy. But the fights are... And then he just fucking crashes back into the ship. He's like, what the fuck? And then he just gets killed. Like, it's so good. It's so good.
Freaking Saitama hits the ship, gets up, and he's like, "Oh, I made it." And I'm like, "What?"
It's great.
And he gets no recognition for that fight either.
Nope.
Nope. Probably my favorite part of that entire scene is when, like, he first punches Boros into the wall and, like, breaks his armor, and he's like, "You've destroyed my armor that holds in my immeasurable power," and he starts charging up, and then it's just, like, really, like, shittily drawn Saitama, just like, okay. It's just so
Yeah, there's
So good.
that part where, like, Boros starts, like, monologuing about how powerful he is. He's like, everyone else on your planet, like, is weak. Like, I have all this energy stored up from, like, millennia of combat, and I have regeneration abilities that you can't even fathom. You blew my arm off, but look at this. I have it back. It's good as new. I'll always be, like, one step ahead of you. You're just gonna keep getting weaker and weaker until eventually you go up. He's like, can you, like, stop talking so we can get this over with, please? And then Boros is just like, what?
I've been through this so many times. I don't care.
No, it is.
Yeah.
There's a reason why both Cody and I said that it was in contention, because it is arguably the best anime fight scene visually alone. Like, if you look at it from a
that
visual
series,
standpoint.
For sure. Yeah.
Oh, for sure that series, but visually
absolutely.
across all anime, I would say it is top tier.
I mean, there's some really good animation from animes, but I mean,
Yeah,
even
I
the top
do,
5.
but-
I would
For
say,
sure.
like,
Yeah.
if you're visual, like, prowess alone, yeah, top 5.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's better stuff out there that I just, like, haven't seen. But, like,
Same,
as far
yeah.
as, like, what I have witnessed and what I have actually watched, like, that is just, like, the most visually pleasing fight ever created that I have laid eyes on.
Yeah.
I like during that whole fight how when Boris is just like kicking the crap out of Saitama and Saitama's face never changes. It's just unemotionless.
Yeah.
He's just like power in the face and like throw him across the ship, and Saitama does nothing. Like, he has no emotion at all.
Yeah, he's, like, throwing him through, like, 15 walls and, like, wailing on him with, like, all this bullshit. And he's, the whole time, he's just, like, completely, like, unfazed
Deadpan.
from all of
Yeah.
it.
And the last thing he says, like, wow, it was a good fight. I really had to try them out. I was like, yeah, me too. I was like, you didn't try it all, did you? No, I did. It's like, oh.
He's lying there dying, and he's like, "You lie."
Yeah.
And I was like,
you really are the strongest ever in phase away.
Damn. What a show.
So good. So good. But we talked about One Punch Man a fuck ton. Cody, I guess it's your turn now.
I should talk about the other One Punch Man, Midoriya, or other people know him as Deku from that My Hero Academia.
It's time we start talking about this show. Oh,
Yeah,
My Hero.
can you guys guess what my number 3 is?
Well, it's gonna be one of three things.
Mm-hmm.
One of four things.
Okay.
So I'll do it in like order of likelihood. All Might versus Nomu.
That was an idea, yeah.
Deku versus Todoroki.
Maybe.
Deku versus Bakugo rematch, or All Might versus All for One. It's got to be one of those four.
It was Deku versus Bakugo.
Nice.
Yes.
Hello, Cody. Ring, ring, ring. That's my number 3.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, damn! Look at this.
It's taking so much time. All right, let's get into
No,
it.
Chipper, you go first. I want to hear what you have to say.
Just it's so fucking flashy between them, and the emotion behind it is so.
Just like Deku looking up to Bakugo, and it's like, I hate you. You always look down on me. He's like, what? It's like,
Yeah.
Bakugo's so stupid. I hate him so much. Seeing him get punched so hard makes me feel so happy.
And I love how Bakugo, I guess, has been studying him throughout, like studying Midoriya throughout the whole like season or the arc, and like Midoriya thinks he has him at some point, and then Bakugo's like, fuck you, I've been learning the whole time, and just throws a mean punch into his fucking stomach, and is like, whoa, oh shit, he's faster than Deku, and they're just like back and forth, like hitting each other in the fucking face and chest, and it's so powerful.
Yeah, just a schoolyard fight between two quote unquote friends.
No. Rivals.
And this is
for
like-
sure.
Rivals. They're rivals.
Yeah.
That's what
And
they
this is like the
become rivals,
part where Bakugo actually gets some fucking character development for once. Like you actually get to see him like
Thank
not
God.
be a piece of shit for 10 seconds.
Bakugo is like my favorite character because like he wasn't at that point. Like before
enough,
that,
yeah.
he was a character that I was just like, I feel like there's more going on with this kid. I'm like waiting it out, and then once that happened, I was just like, yes.
All I can say about Bakugo is he's better Sasuke.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Yes, definitely. He's not as edgelordy.
Just he's still an asshole, but at least he has reasons, and not good reasons, but he still has reasons.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. Like I just enjoy the
Yeah.
entire like of Deku just like standing up for himself against Bakugo for once, and it's like, I look up to you. I'm gonna beat your ass. I'm gonna show you how strong I've got and how much stronger I'm going to get. It's like,
And then he loses.
yeah, that's the best part. I love it when
Yeah.
a hero loses. It's like
Yeah.
he tries
And-
so hard, but this wasn't enough. And next time, I'm sure Deku's gonna whoop Bakugo's ass, but we're not gonna see that for like 2 seasons probably.
Yeah. And then like it hits him at the end. He's like, you inherited the power from the greatest, strongest hero of all time, and I still beat you. Like that can't fucking happen. Like you got to work on your shit.
I'm at 8%. Wait till I'm at 10, asshole.
Plus, like the whole ending of the fight where it's
Yeah.
like, Deku like punches the shit out of Bakugo, and then Bakugo grabs him, and then just like pretty
Yeah.
much suicide
Yeah.
dives bomb with both of them. It's so fucking pretty looking.
Yeah, that's like one of the coolest shots. Like, I mean, there's so many cool shots in that fight. For as short as it is, like every single thing that happens is just like pure visual madness. And yeah, like at the end when he just like he reverses his like move in the air, just grabs him, puts his hand up, and just rockets them both down to the ground in an explosion. Like, oh god, dude.
Yeah, and you can like the impact, like you can feel the impact from it because it's just like it happened whenever he does it and it explodes. They go down so fast, and it's just like
Yeah.
a column of fire, and just like whoa.
I think
That's
the
gotta
best-
hurt.
Yeah, I think the best shot in that whole fight is the part where Midoriya starts doing like the fancy footwork shit and the lightning's like going off his feet,
Dude.
and then it just does like the slow-mo shot of him like going to like kick Bakugo, and the lightning's like arcing off of his body. Like,
Shoot style
Dude,
is so
okay.
good.
So good.
I love
Straight up-
that.
Tyler, you know how earlier I was like, there's another thing on my list that like makes me think of Like how you were like, there's like this moment that is just like, when I think of that show, that's what I think of.
Yeah.
It's that. It's when he does that like spin and like he like goes for the kick and the lightning arcs off his body as Bakugo leans back. And then Bakugo dives at him and it like, you see the light like curve off of his hand from the explosion as he's going at him. Those moments in that fight are like some of the most satisfying things ever. Like, dude.
Oh my gosh, dude.
That, like, if there is a show on this list that you think you should watch, it's My Hero Academia. I apologize.
It's just it's worth it though. It's
mainstream for a reason.
Yeah,
it's so fucking good.
There's a reason why this anime in particular has gotten to where it's gotten to, and it's because you see like shows like Attack on Titan and stuff get popular because it's like an anime, but this is like, it's well written, it's well done. There are extreme level of characters that are all likable, except for Mineta, but that's fine. It's like, such a good show.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, definitely like one of the greatest animes ever made, in my opinion. Like,
for sure.
There's nothing to dislike about it other than Mineta. I mean, there's really nothing to dislike about it. It's so good. It's just so good. And like,
beautiful.
One of the reasons we had to like put the limit on fucking one fight per show for this list was because there's a lot of good fights in My Hero Academia, and
my God,
we would have been talking about the show a lot if we had not put that restriction in. So
I mean, we're gonna hear about it real soon, I'm guessing.
I mean, I definitely have one of those fights on my list. So
I as well have one of those fights on my list. It's coming. The one that you guys just talked about was my close to same as the one that I picked, but boy, I also love specifically that scene. I think that fight in particular has a really weird way of like changing that whole season, because the whole arc with like Bakugo getting taken before that, you're just like, oh shit, Bakugo's gone, and like you're like, he doesn't have that much of a character, so like he's gone, but like he's a student, so you want to get him back and everything. And then what he talks about after he beats Deku in that fight, he like saying like how he felt and like how he didn't feel good enough, like he's the reason why all of these things had to happen, the reason why someone lost their powers, and like,
I mean,
I don't know who it could be. Watch the show, find out.
I wonder if we're going to be talking about the exact moment we're trying not to talk about later in this podcast.
Cool. That means we're covering a good amount of the scenes that we listed off, because I picked a different one. And it just completely changes the way because I rewatched that season and I was like, oh shit, like the things that Bakugo do in that season have a little bit of a different weight to them, because he doesn't want to mess things up for other people in his own like way of striving towards being extremely strong. It like, the way you watch it changes after you watch that fight and realize what is on his shoulders and what he's going through. Not extremely, but it makes you think just at all differently about a season, which gives an entire season, or I guess entire arc pretty much, rewatchability, which I think is huge for an anime. Because like, it made me want to go back and watch it again before I continued the show. And I was like, fuck. I just, whoever's like, everyone that's working on that show, good job to you. Because holy fuck.
Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Ooh. But yeah, I guess we should probably move on away from My Hero for a hot second.
Yeah. What's your number two? Or
my number
two
two. All right, I'm gonna throw one out there. All right, I don't even those people out there that watch anime might not have seen this yet, because it's relatively new. It's lovely anime called Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Cody, have you watched it?
I haven't. I've heard all the good stuff about it. Seen some scenes from it. It looks really pretty, but I just haven't got around to it yet.
Wow, dude.
I've seen one fight scene from it, and I feel like it's the one you're probably going to talk about.
Is it Spider Boy?
Yeah.
Yes. That is my number two. It is Tanjiro versus Rui. Holy shit, bro. Okay, so let me lay this down for you, right? Demon Slayer is a new anime. It came out this year, to my knowledge. It came out this year, and I just recently finished it. Literally days ago, I finished it. And there aren't a lot of like huge fight scenes in that show, but there are a lot of smaller ones that happen that don't feel as though they're as pivotal until it ends, because right as he's killing a demon, they give each character he kills a backstory. Like they go like it's similar to like if you're like seeing like the demon's like life flash before its eyes, and you feel every single person he kills, you feel, and it's incredibly written. I am in awe that they were able to do this. Like a demon that he's fighting in one episode, like literally has only been there for like a short amount of time. You learn about them and like what they went through when they turned into a demon, or if they have just always been a demon, or whatever, like what they were as a human. Like, holy shit, dude. Wow. Because they really thought this one out and went the extra mile with it. But besides that, there is an incredible fight between Tanjiro and Rui. And basically, it's like a couple episode little span where the main characters go into like a forest because they're sent there by the Demon Slayer Corps, and they are to help a couple other members of the Demon Slayer Corps defeat some monsters because there's been a lot of deaths, and like, why the hell are our people losing? What's going on here? And they get there and they're getting attacked by dead Demon Slayers, and they're like, what the fuck? And it's because there's a family of spider people that are controlling them, quite literally like strings, like puppets, because those strings are like extremely strong and they're demons, so they're like super strong and whatever the fuck. And there's like 5 of them that they have to like go through and kill. And some of the fights of the like just the other demon members of the family are extremely well done. Like, kind of wish one of you had seen it so we could like bounce stuff off, so I'm not just ranting about it. But
yeah, I've wanted to watch it, but I'm waiting for the dub to come out.
No, and that's fair. But anyways, I think that I'll cut the spider people thing short. But the actual fight where he fights Rui, the spider boy, basically, is you find out like that he is actually the one running the entire spider family. You think it's like probably like the really strong dad dude, but he's just like, nah, bitch, I'm the strongest. And you find out he's actually one of the strongest demon ever. And you're like, oh, fuck. And there's a reason why Tanjiro wants to find all the strongest demon. They're like, I think they're called the 12 Kazuki is what they're called. But there's a reason he wants to find them all. And you'll find that out if you watch it. I won't spoil this one. But the fight that he goes through with him is so well done. The animation style in the show is really unique and very cool. The way they have a character move against the background is one of the more satisfying things I've seen in an anime recently. It is very unique and different than other shows. It's almost as if like they freeze the background and the character moves across it as if he's like in a scene, like a diorama scene kind of. So like the character is still fully animated and moving through it, whereas the scene is like kind of sliding as he runs across it.
Oh, weird.
It's very interesting, and it's not like crazy odd. It's just slightly different that you realize it and you go, ooh, what? It's so cool. I would highly recommend it. The scene itself has extreme like repercussions to the entire show at that point. Sadly, only 1 season's out right now, but it is really good. I'm super excited for season 2. I guess you could technically say it's Tanjiro and Nezuko versus Rui. Nezuko is his sister. She's in it a little bit as well, but oh my god, dude. Like, also the characters that they have are like, because I mentioned the show's really well written, is the other characters in their like party, I guess, are like so tropey. Like the one dude is just like screaming and crying all the time. But he also has a really interesting story that they've kind of like hinted at. He actually fights one of the other spider people, and it's really cool. He's basically Brock, but cries a lot. Because he likes women, because he likes girls.
That's a hell of a description.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then the other one's just like stereotypical. I'm so strong, I can beat anything. And then near the end of the season, he loses, and he's like, "What am I?" And it's like, oh, cool. So anime. But yeah, no, it has managed to make even characters that are tropey like extremely interesting and like make me wonder where they're going with it, because it's obvious that it's like trope but building off of it. I'll end my Demon Slayer rant now, but I definitely think one to definitely keep an eye out for, especially as more seasons come out as well.
I mean, I was looking at it, but hearing you talk about it, I really need to get a move on and watch it.
Yeah,
sounds really good.
Like, I watched the first episode, and then I watched the next 12. And then I was like, I should probably sleep. And then I watched the next couple episodes of the next, like, 2 or 3 days. And
maybe this weekend.
Do it up. Do it up for sure. It is so good.
I need to hop on that, too. I might just watch the sub and not wait.
The voice acting in the sub is extremely well done, too. Like, obviously, for us, no, like... judgment, but like obviously when there's a dub we're like, oh, the voice acting a little bit more because we're like, I understand what's being said, but right. I really like the emotion given in the subbed voice acting.
Like I never have a problem with like the sub. Like the subs usually have better voice acting because it's the actual language that they're speaking. I just like especially for a show like that where I know that particular fight scene is going to be so visually pleasing that I don't want to be reading while that's going on. Like I like to be able to focus all of my attention on the animation and still know what's going on. That's like certain shows I just like, I hate having to sit through the sub because like One Punch Man, like the first time I watched it, I had to watch it subbed, and then like it sucks that you have to like take your eyes off of like the incredible shit that's happening on screen to like be able to read the context of what's going on. Yeah. So I just try to avoid that when possible. That's like the only reason I try to stick to dubs.
I definitely agree. Like I have actually watched both One Punch Man and My Hero in both sub and dub now because some shows I feel as though, because I hear that the dub is also really well done, like voice acting wise, and then I'm like, all right, this show was like cool enough that I now just really want to watch it, like just focus on what's happening on the screen, not like taking in both like you were talking about.
Yeah, I usually only watch things subbed if like the dub is not out yet and I care about it so much that like I can't wait. Like, because that's every time My Hero comes out, like the sub is usually out before the dub. Like this season is different, but so I've always like watched the sub first, then I'll go back and rewatch it dubbed. And then same with like Mob Psycho and One Punch Man and stuff. I've watched it like both, just because like when the new episodes come out, like I have to watch it, no matter what the language is. Like I need to see it. I need to know what's happening.
Yeah.
So I may end up just doing that with Demon Slayer, because if it is as good as you say and as good as everyone else says, I should probably hop on that like sooner rather than later.
Yeah. No, I would think so. I mean, I personally think it's up there for my all-time favorite anime I've seen for sure.
Damn. All right.
It's in my top 5 favorite anime ever. It is.
I started watching, like, I watched the first 3 episodes at one of my buddy's house, and if I wasn't at his house and I didn't have to go home, I would have watched it all night if I could.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty fucking rad, so I need to get back into it.
Mm-hmm. It's also, like, extremely brutal. Like,
it's very gory right from the start.
Yeah, because, like... Yeah, it's like they are not afraid to be real. Like, like you know how it was like they were like puppeting like the dead demon slayers and everything, including ones that have broken bones. So their arms are like actually like bent all different ways and still swinging. And like the people that like those like like some of them aren't dead and they're like, please just kill me because they're swinging their like broken arms. Oh, it is like it is not afraid to be brutal. Like
holy shit. Okay.
Yeah, it is. Whew. But
the animation, I think it's done by the same people that did Fate Stay Night or whatever, which the animation quality is gorgeous on those. But
yeah, I've heard that is like one of the most visually pleasing shows to ever be made.
I also have heard this.
I need to watch it. I just seen like a couple fights from it.
I tried watching it once, but like I don't know what the first series is because they're all named weird things. There's more than 3 at this point. Are there
more than 3?
There's a lot, and I don't know which one is first. I tried Unlimited Blade Works first, but then like I had no fucking clue what was happening. And like the first episode was so slow. It was just like people talking about like all this continuity stuff, and I'm just like, I'm gonna not do this anymore. I changed my mind. Like I'm sure the fights are great, but like this is just a lot. So I probably started on the wrong one.
It's very possible. I mean, I don't even know which one's the original series.
I have been told that Unlimited Blade Works has the best animation and the best fights. So that's the one I tried to start with. But boy, did I not understand a single fucking thing that was happening for the entirety of the episode I watched.
It's probably not the first one to start with.
Probably not. Yeah, but anyway,
Who do we want to do next?
We're gonna move on. We'll go back to the original order. So Cody, you can hit us with your number 2.
Okay. Who here likes PvP?
The
Player
yeah?
versus
Like
player. You know, like
peanut
in
butter.
video games.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I like it.
Yeah, number
Okay.
2 is for me is Ainz versus Shalltier in Overlord.
Oh my fucking god! I forgot about Overlord.
God, I love that anime.
I love the first season of that anime. Everything after that is kind of like mediocre or bad. But season 1 of Overlord is a great time. It's basically like if Sword Art Online was like cool.
No, I've started season 1. I just didn't like get into it that much. Like
It's
right off the
it's
bat.
definitely like it's not for everyone. I will say that. It's extremely weeby. So like it's not for everyone, but there's just like there's a certain appeal to it that just like really it's real fun to watch to me. But anyway, Cody, continue with your pick.
But yeah, Ainz, what was his name? Ainz Ulgone. That's how you say his full name. He's a
That's a
giant
fake
skeleton
name.
wizard man. That's his
What?
that's his avatar in the game. He's like the guild leader of this group called the what was it called? The Great Tomb of Nazarick. It's a game.
Yeah, well,
Like,
the tomb of Nazarick was like their home base, and I think their guild was called Ainz Ulgone, and then he changed his name to the name of the guild so that if any of his guild members were there, they would like recognize him.
See, it's so convoluted. Like
It's
stuff like
really
that.
complicated because
That's
his
sad.
name originally was
Was
Momonga, and
yeah.
then he changed it to Ainz Ulgone, which was the name of the guild. It's complicated, and then he has like another persona and like another class that he like goes undercover and pretends to be a knight named Momon, and
We're not going to get into all this.
we won't get into it. Yeah,
we'll
it's
talk about the
complicated.
fight. Okay,
Yeah.
the fight's with this giant skeleton wizard man versus a vampire Lolita girl. Her name is Shalltier Bloodfallen, I think.
Yep.
She is one of his minions, basically. She is like one of the members of the tomb. But
Yeah.
I think she gets like mind controlled, right?
Yeah. Well, also
Yeah.
just like for full like understanding, like the plot of this is like this dude is in an MMO like Sword Art Online where you're in the game. And then,
Isekai,
like,
I think
the
it's called.
servers, yeah, isekai. And then like the servers get shut down, but he's like still in the game when it happens, and then all of the NPCs that they created for their like their temple or whatever come to life. So this vampire chick is one of his NPCs.
It's one of his friends, like NPCs they made. Like
Yeah.
he's the like guild leader, but all his friends were with him all the way up until like this final day where he was the only one on because they all had like real life stuff to do, or they just got bored of the game. He's the last one on, and he got stuck in it.
So all the NPCs think that he is like this god now because they're like, all of our other creators abandoned us, but you're still here. You're like,
you are our god.
Yeah, you're like our fucking like you're
Our
overlord.
overlord,
That's like
yeah.
they use that a lot. That's the name of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Anyway, yeah.
just the fight. Okay, let's focus on the fight because
Yeah.
it's just so crazy. Because at the beginning of the fight, he tests out like all these different things. Like he's thinking that like as a video game, where it's like, I'm walking up and she's not attacking me, so I guess she's not aggro. So maybe I should do let's power up. So he does so many buffs to himself. Like I think like 3 minutes worth of buffs.
Oh yeah.
Like, enhanced magic. He goes on like a whole list of stuff before he even does his like the first thing he does is his god level like magic spell, which is like the strongest spell in the game. Ooh. Anyways, that's like a thing you can only use like once per day. It's if you've played any MMO and like watching this fight scene, it is like you're just like I fucking do this every day of my life. Oh my god, what's the show?
Yeah, it is like really like authentic as far as like trying to mimic like MMO actual like combat.
And like
Yeah,
his thought process is exactly what goes through like most people's heads. Like I need min-max. Like if I use this spell now, she'll counter it, and then I can like take advantage of that later on because she can't counter my even stronger thing. It's like I'm like thinking 10 turns ahead. Later on, he uses cash shop items to like summon like the other god's weapons.
Wow.
It's so stupid. I love it.
It's so ridiculous. It is a really good fight though.
I really recommend watching it. So like if you don't even watch the show, just watch this fight scene and you're like, this is pure video game anime. This is like Yu-Gi-Oh! On drugs.
That's pretty accurate.
Damn.
I don't want to spoil anything. It's that good of a fight. All I can say is they go through the ringer, and Ainz proves himself as their God King and wins out in the end. Because no one can beat Ainz, because he is their god. Anyways, we can move on. Yeah.
Well, this man snapping sticks? Are those
It's
his
cash
spells?
item. It's cash item stuff. Like, cash up, you use real life money to buy those things, right?
Chipper, are you
Oh.
watching it?
I am.
Yeah. Like, they even go through, like, I need to, like, waste his mana because I know he's a magic user and he loses all that. He's, like, worthless. And it's like, actually, I have this armor that makes me a physical fighter now. It's like, what? And then it's like a melee combat, and he pulls out these cash items. That's those sticks. He snaps
Then
them and he
he-
pulls out different weapons.
He pulls out a bow, and it looks like it shoots lightning fire.
I mean, I think, if I'm
Damn.
right, that bow is her creator's weapon. Like,
She seemed very stunned by it.
yeah, because it's her, like, how dare you take my lord's weapon? It's like, well, you're gonna die by your lord now, bitch. It's like, oh god.
He sliced her arm off, too, so that was pretty cool.
Well, we are now a reaction channel.
It is
And none of this
such
is
a
going to be
sorry.
up on screen for
I
any
know,
of this.
sorry guys.
It's
Oh my
pretty
god.
cool.
I recommend it. Like, just stop, like, pause the video, go watch it.
I will.
Yeah, no, I need to
Chipper,
go
no.
like rewatch that fight because it's been so long since I watched it that I don't even remember most of what went down in the fight.
Just fanboy.
It's like a whole episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a
I mean, I think
two-episode
this
long
is
fight.
the
I
finale.
think.
I think
Yeah,
this
it's
is
the
finale of
finale.
season 1.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then the show goes downhill from there, which is a shame.
Cool.
It just goes a different route. It's not as good, but it still does stuff.
Yeah, just like the appeal of the first season is just like seeing Ainz do like crazy bullshit and like discover
Learning
the
about
world,
the world. Yeah.
and like you get to. It's all focused on like him and his like crew of NPCs and doing like crazy bullshit and being overpowered, and it's awesome.
It's
And
like-
after that, they spend like 3 episode stretches just like focusing on these random
NPCs.
villagers
Yeah, just
that
random
are like
NPCs that no one cares about. It's like,
yeah, they try to build them up as characters, and then they just like, oh, Ein shows up and killed them all. Like, okay, what was the point of like? There's no point to any of this,
I
and like
think
the
it's just-
dialogue for them is all so fucking terrible, and it's all pointless. I'm like, just focus on what made the show good in the first
it's
place.
they're trying to do world building, but they
I
do it
get
in a way
it,
that
but,
they just
like-
wipe the slate clean every single time. It's like there's no weight to it. I get what you're trying to do, but you're doing
Yeah.
it poorly.
And it's just so bland too. Like I don't want to watch
It's
these unimportant characters talk about like their fucking political
it's very
bullshit for 2
stereotypical
episodes.
fantasy.
Like
That's why I can say it's super
Yeah.
basic fantasy
Yeah.
stuff. So
yeah.
that's kind of
But the show hits its stride when it's just Ainz doing overpowered bullshit.
yeah.
And like yeah, it has its moments. I'd
So good.
recommend at least checking it out. It's not for
Yeah.
everyone, but
Does that fight
At
scene
least
alone,
check it
maybe you won't like it, but I'm sure you'll find it like you'll chuck out at least once, just like Nani? I think she does say that at some point. Like,
I also like since we're not gonna talk about the show anymore for the rest of the podcast, I really like the fight where he hugs the chick to death, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. I'm just gonna
What?
I'll leave you with intrigue.
it's fucked.
Damn.
That-
It's real. It's
She
really
got
fucked
what
up.
she
You just
deserved.
like hear her
She
bones
got
pop
what she
and like
deserved.
yeah,
Damn.
he
Oh.
just hugs the chick to death and she fucking dies, and it's really fucked up. But
It's worth it. I mean, she
Yeah.
deserved it, so it's fine.
yeah. And
Okay.
we're gonna move on.
Yeah, we're
so,
moving
Chipper,
Chipper.
what's your number 2?
my number 2 comes from a very amazing anime called Bleach.
Ooh, sick joke. Bring
Bro,
it.
job.
Hitting us with the fucking
Thank
high
you.
level humor today. Holding nothing back. Joke of the year
Oh,
award
yes.
goes
Thank
to
you,
Chipper
thank
Thurber.
you. I'm bowing because I know that was amazing. So I know Bleach is a garbage anime, but at the time when I was watching it, that was technically the second anime I ever watched.
Mhm.
Because at the time I didn't think Avatar: The Last Airbender was an anime, but Bleach was the first gateway to weeby anime for me.
That's fair. Yeah.
And so this fight is it's Ichigo versus Ukiura, which is, if you've watched the show, it's one of the biggest build-ups ever, and the payoff is fantastic. Because they spend a whole arc, Ichigo and this guy, they keep meeting So first off, this guy, he's part of the Espadas, which is like this elite group of hollow demon people that there's like 100 of them or whatever, but there's only 10 of them with numbers. I don't know why they decide 10, but they're the most powerful ones. And they each have different like form changes and special weapons that they that are just like god tier. And so like throughout the whole season that these Espada people show up, there's this number one guy who is his name's Ukiora, and they every time him and Ichigo meet, it's like they just clash and don't actually like fight, but Ukiora will do something like powerful, like destroy a building or like kill one of Ichigo's friends just to prove how strong he is. And then they finally meet in like Ukiora's like homeland, and Ukiora is like, "Hey, so I'm too powerful to fight here. We're gonna go to a pocket dimension that I've created so I don't destroy my homeland." and Ichigo's like, all right. And they just fly up into this land, and it's just like a desert planet. And Ukiora is like, yes, so I'm gonna form change because I'm just gonna get this over with and kill you. And he turns into some kind of like goat demon with wings and horns. And he gets like a spear that turns into a scythe, which is pretty fucking rad.
I mean, it sounds pretty cool.
And the first half of the fight is just Ukiora flying around and stabbing the shit out of Ichigo and kicking his ass. And like Ichigo's just like laying there on the ground, and Ukiora is like, "All right, I'm gonna go kill your friends now, because you don't deserve to have loved ones anymore." And so he goes to kill one of his friends, and Ichigo gets really fucking pissed off and goes into this. He has like a hollow form, which
this is the fight scene. I seen this fight
Yes.
like when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's really fucking cool. There's he has this one form where it's just he pulls a mask over his face and he gets like a little evil. But then turns out he has this he's also kind of part of the Espada, where he has the same kind of demon forms, but he never knew how to access it, and I guess it's just extreme pain. So he turns into this and just starts like teleporting and kicking the shit out of Ukiora, and it's just like a speed fight. And at some point, Ukiora throws his spear at a very far distance, and just a nuclear explosion goes off. And
What?
And Ichigo just gets covered in it. And then Ukiora starts walking away, and all of a sudden Ichigo is teleported behind him and starts like punching him across the land, and just teleporting and punching him. And then it gets to a point where they're up close to each other and basically like on par. And they're what is Ichigo? Ukiora tries to stab Ichigo. Ichigo catches his the spear and crushes it, and it creates another nuclear explosion.
Jesus.
Ichigo.
This is anime.
Yeah, Ukiora goes flying, and Ichigo just teleports to him, grabs him, cuts him in half, puts him to the ground, stomps on his face, and looks at him. And Ukiora goes, "So this is how it ends, huh? I'm gonna die from the likes of you peasant." And then Ichigo just shoots a spirit bomb from his horns and obliterates him, and nothing's there anymore.
Wow. That is very intense.
It's definitely, and like just the whole build up to it of just like these two clashing constantly, and just like will they, won't they fight, is just really cool. And I think Ukiora was just like the whole time he thinks Ichigo's a piece of crap and just a lowlife, and he'll never live up to Ukiora. But Ukiora, I think the secret was it's a stupid name. I think the whole thing behind it was he wanted to watch Ichigo grow and get stronger so that he has an opponent that is strong enough to fight him. Because, like, everybody that he's fought beforehand just, like, is just death and dead. So, like, when they finally clash, and it's like, Ukiora just completely regrets watching him grow.
Cool.
Super anime.
That does sound like the most anime thing on anybody's list so far.
I think you
Sure.
won, Chipper. You're the king weeb now.
Oh,
I can't
damn.
even imagine what's going to top that for your number
forgot.
one.
Yeah, this is only number 2.
This is only number
Oh
2.
God.
What could Chipper's number 1 be?
My number 1 is definitely, in my opinion, cooler because
I'm,
it's not Bleach.
I'm excited now.
I'm excited now.
Yeah.
Because it's not Bleach.
Well, that's the thing. Like, Bleach is a horrible anime, and that is like the only cool fight ever in the whole show. Every other fight is just super sloppy and slow. There's like another fight with my favorite character who it's pretty cool, but it's over quick because he's also like one of the most powerful characters. So he just pretty much kills all of his enemies.
Gotcha.
Well, I guess
Cool.
My number 1 is not as weeby. It's more, to me, it's more nostalgic.
Gotcha.
dope.
I just feel like, well, like we've gone through all the animes that I know you've watched, so I don't even know, like I have no remote idea what your number 1 could even be, and now I'm just like really excited to hear what it is.
Oh.
Well, Tyler.
But before we could do that, I have to do my number 2. And we're gonna be talking about My Hero Academia again.
Oh.
Woo!
Academia nuts.
So I was torn between all of the fights that I had mentioned previously when I was trying to guess Cody's fight. But gut instinct was like Deku versus Todoroki was the first fight that I was just like in jubilation for like how fucking cool it was. But at the end of the day, the fight is mostly just him flicking ice and breaking his fingers. So I'm going to go with the one that has the most emotional impact out of any fight in the entire show, which is All Might versus All for One. It's just a full episode of just raw, pure emotion, and it is the culmination of, seasons worth of buildup. They've been building up All for One as this, like, massively threatening, overpowered dude, and you just, like, you haven't really seen him, you don't really know what he's capable of, and then you finally get to see him face off against All Might, who is, like, the most broken character in the show. He never loses, completely overpowered, but he's, like, reaching the end of his time where he could be a hero because he's, like, he got injured and he passed his power on, so he can only have his powers activated for so long. And then he goes up against All for One, and then at the beginning of the fight, he just, like, unleashes, like, all of his energy to do this punch that he thinks is gonna, like, take him out, right? And then, I mean, you all know this. I'm just painting a picture for the crowd of 2 people who are listening to this who might not know. So he thinks that he, like, got him, and then he just, like, reverts into his, like, tiny form. All of his muscles go away, and he's just, like, weak and decrepit now. But All for One is perfectly fine. And now All Might is out of juice, and the whole world is watching this fight, and now they see All Might in his weak form for the first time ever. He's been keeping it a secret, and now he's exposed. Like, oh, All Might's weak. Like, oh, he's gonna die, and, like, this dude's, like, ludicrously overpowered. Like, there's no way he's gonna be able to fight through it, right? And All for One is, like, doing crazy bullshit to try. He's, like, shooting, like, airwaves out and like trying to hurt other people, and then All Might has to, like, sacrifice his body to, like, save another person from getting hit in the crossfire, and then he's just, like, even weaker. And then, like, the whole time he's, like, having flashbacks of, like, his old master, giving him, like, motivational stuff. And then, like, All for One gets, like, the giant fucking arm, and then he, like, punches him, and then it's like shattering his, like, body, and you think he's gonna die. And that's the thing, like, I actually didn't know if All Might was gonna survive this fight.
No,
so I was, like,
same.
on the edge of my seat the whole time, because I'm like, they're gonna kill All Might at some point. So if it's gonna happen, like, it might be here. But then he just does, like, the craziest bullshit ever, and then ends up, like, digging deep within himself, and, like, finding, like, the fire inside of him, and he, like, gets his one arm to be, like, muscular again. He uses, like, his one arm as, like, a decoy to, like, lure the attack in, and then he, like, hits him in the fucking head, and then he's like, oh, that was a lot stronger, but you're still weak. And he's like, that's because I didn't put my back into it. And then he does, like, the fucking United States of Smash! And then he, like, fucking
so
destroys this dude, causes, like, a tornado, and then it just like expends all of his remaining energy, and then that's like his retirement, and he like takes out like the ultimate threat, and just like gives it all up, and then he's like done. And then like the moment at the end where he's standing over like All For One's like knocked out body, and then he like puts his hand in the air, and then he like goes into muscle form again, and then you see like Edgelord dude, I forget his name, Firebeard, Child Beater.
Oh, Endeavor. Yeah.
he's like, hey, I shouldn't push yourself or whatever, and then Gran Torino's like, just like, let him be. This is his last job. And then it's just like, there's just like so much emotion through like the whole entire episode, the whole fight. It's all just like how my last entry was all visual flair. This is like all emotional, like weight. And that's, I think, better in the long run than visual flair. Is if the fight makes you like feel something. If you are super, super invested in it, that's what makes the fights awesome. And that's why I'm picking this fight out of any other fight in the whole show, because I think just like the pure emotional weight of this fight is just unlike anything else. And it's just so fucking cool.
The visual flair is super good too, though.
Yeah,
it is.
That's what I was going to say.
It's still a really, really, nice fight. But like choreography wise, I mean, it's kind of like 3 punches. Like that's the whole fight.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. But that's kind of how My Hero fights typically are more times than not. There's usually just a lot more like emotional weight to them than actual choreography.
They yell at each other a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, like I don't have like a ton to go into with this other than that, like I don't think I've ever been like moved as much by a fight than like the All Might versus All For One battle. Like I was literally like, it inspired me to like make an All Might art piece like afterwards. Like I stayed up until like 2 a.m. I was like, I'm drawing All Might. Fuck, it is awesome. I love All Might.
It is super cool. It is. I have it saved on my phone. In fact.
Oh, the picture.
Yeah, because you said that to me, and I was like, "Holy fuck!" And I had just watched it too, and I was just like, feelings.
Oh man, arguably one of the best drawings I've ever made, and it all came from like A, finding a picture on the internet and copying it, and B, just like motivation, just of like pure inspiration, just from how epic the fucking fight was. That I was like, I have to pay respect to this fake ass character who just fake gave up his powers to save a bunch of fake people. I'm gonna do that through the power of art. Yeah.
Well, he respects you,
fight.
Tyler. That fake person.
You're next, Tyler.
Hot.
I
See
get
what
it.
you did there.
Do you get it? People
get
who watch won't,
Because
if they
that's what he
haven't seen
said.
it. That's what he says. He points at the camera and he's like, "You're next." And
No,
it's
he
like,
says
what?
now it's your turn.
Oh, that's totally what it is.
You didn't even quote it
Your
right.
next is Mortal
You're
Damn.
trash.
Damn. Yep. Well, cool. You know who else is next?
I'm surprised that wasn't your number one, Tyler. I have no idea.
No,
Yeah.
my number one is different.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know what your number
I
one
don't know
is.
what it
That's okay.
is.
I really was hoping this would be your number one, but it's okay. It's because I've seen this one.
Yeah. No,
Anyways.
nobody on this podcast has seen my number one fight, but I can't lower it because it's too good. So we'll get there though. Kyle, what's your number one?
Oh shit! It is my turn, isn't it?
It is your turn.
While we're talking about My Hero Academia, my number one, in fact, is another of the ones that was listed off at the whenever Tyler first listed off a bunch of scenes. Mine is Deku versus Todoroki.
Wow, I did not think anyone was actually going to end up picking that one.
Yeah, I definitely went back and forth for a while with all three of. I actually more so these three than the All Might versus Nomu, which is still really good. Watch that as well. But in fact, you have to watch that before you get to any of these other scenes. It happens before the other ones. But I think all three of these scenes are incredible. All for somewhat different reasons and all very similar reasons. The main reason why I picked the Deku versus Todoroki fight is because, I mean, the people that are in this podcast know, but for people who don't, I really adore superhero anything. Like, I watch all the Marvel movies. I follow DC movies to an extent. I enjoy the characters in DC movies, while I might not as much love the movies at times, sometimes, but not always. But anyways, so I have always like kind of been like had that childhood wonder when watching superhero anything, and if it hasn't been obvious yet, because I don't think we ever said it, this is a superhero show. It's basically what this entire show is about. It's a bunch of people who have superpowers that go to school. That's why it's called My Hero Academia. And yeah, you follow them as they become heroes. Yep, that's basically the whole show. But when I was watching this show, I was like, up until this point of Deku versus Todoroki, I was like, this show is really cool. And I think that it's going to be a show that I really enjoy. And that was about as far as it went. And when the Deku versus Todoroki fight happened, I felt that wonder that I get when I see an awesome thing happen in like a Marvel movie or something. Like that was the first time I think in that show, like whether it be like the emotion behind the scene because he was like pulling so much out of Todoroki's past to like get him to, or not technically his past, but just like egging him on to like make him be stronger. The animation in the scene is incredible. I actually think that made me like Deku more overall, because most main characters in a show you never really like love until like they do something specific. It's just like, oh, you're the plot, thank you. But Deku definitely like built up in my own personal rankings of characters in that show after that scene, because he was just like so like, even though he was in a tournament fighting Todoroki, he wanted to better Todoroki as a person and as a hero. Which I think was dope. And just I think the overall culmination of that scene became what I think of first and foremost when I think of that show. And because of that, I think I'm going to have to make him a number one. I am making him a number one, not just think. It is number one.
Yeah, no, I had the exact same feelings about it. Like when someone says My Hero Academia, the first image that pops into my head is the scene at the end of that fight where he activates his flame powers for the first time, and they run at each other, and they blow the fucking stadium up. That is the first thing I think of when that show is mentioned, and it is one of the most visually pleasing things I've ever seen. And that fight in general is just, like I said with the last one, like there's just so much emotional weight to it. They do such a good job in that show of just having so much weight behind all of the fight scenes. Like there's reasons that they're fighting each other. There's reasons that they're like doing what they're doing. And like, yeah, and also like this fight is like what solidified Todoroki as my favorite character in the show, was like because of this fight.
Which is why I'm surprised you didn't actually pick this one, because I knew that Todoroki was your favorite character.
I know. It was really close. Like I was going back and forth about it until like right before we started this podcast.
Same.
I just ended up picking the All Might one just because I'm like, because as much as I love the Deku Todoroki fight, like as much as I love it, it really is just him flicking ice for a couple minutes. Like if you really break it down to like the basic like fight choreography, that's really all that it is.
Yeah. No, it really is.
It's such a fucking epic fight though.
I mean, if you really think about the three scenes we've talked about, I guess the Deku Bakugo one is the most complex in choreography, if you really think about it.
It really is. Because, I mean, even the All Might All for one isn't, like, super, super complicated either.
It's really just a couple of punches. Like,
yeah.
Which, I mean, when you're that strong, that's all you really need, I think.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like an opposite to One Punch Man, but that's, like, a whole conversation you could have about showing power, but whatever.
Yeah, but, like, that, you're right, though. Like, that was one of the first... Like, I obviously I liked the show, and there were a lot of moments in the show up until that point that I'm like, this is really cool.
Same.
But, like, seeing that fight, like, blew my fucking mind. I was like, this shit is hype as hell. Like, I am 1,000% invested in this show now. Like, this is, like, my favorite shit ever. Just because of that scene. Like, it's such a good fight.
Yeah. I don't know. I could have, if you would have asked me on a different day, I could have picked either of the other two scenes that were talked about today. Because I just, like, in thinking about it and watching the three before we started the podcast, I was like, this one hits hard. Like, because they are all that good. But I think just strictly because I think in fights you have to like both sides, like be at least interested in both sides of the fight, as well as it being choreographed, like really like interesting to watch, either choreography or visually. Like the weight and the visual have to be there, as well as it being the first moment for me in the show where I was just like, oh shit, this is good. I was like, I went with that one. But yeah, I guess we can stop absolutely going nuts over My Hero for a second.
It's worth it.
But why should we? Why should we stop?
I'm glad that like we all picked. We each like picked one of the 3 big fights, so we got to talk about all of them because they all deserved to be on this list. They really did.
I really thought you guys were both gonna say the All Might one. Like whenever, like, because I figured you guys would talk about My Hero, but I'm glad we ended up talking about the Bakugo one because that might have been the closest to actually edging out Todoroki personally, but.
Yeah, because that was the one I thought you were going to pick because I remember like you've gushed about that fight like so much.
It's so good.
And then like I'm the one who's usually like balls deep on the Todoroki fight when we're talking about that. So it's really weird that it seems like we kind of all swapped answers, but we all managed to talk about them all anyway. Like
yeah, no, I just think when I thought about it more, it was just like the Todoroki fight was where I got that wonder of the show.
Yeah. And see, now I kind of want to change my answer to that, but it's already set in stone. I've already said it.
You wasted it.
I did.
You didn't waste it though, because it's incredible.
I sit on a throne of lies.
No, you don't. It's so good though. It's fine. Our each of those respective spots are all 3 of those scenes.
Oh man. All right. Well, that's enough of My Hero talk for the night, I guess. Cody, hit us with your number 1.
Can any of you guess what it's going to be?
No.
All right. It's friend versus friend. It's Naruto versus Sasuke. The final fight.
I forgot that
That's
you've
a
seen
good
Naruto,
one.
so.
I hate Sasuke with a passion. Everything about him makes me upset, but I like Naruto.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I know. Well, okay, whatever. I like Naruto. I'm gonna say it. He's a cool guy. He tries his best. You know, he has a lot of freebies, but he tries.
He has a lot of cool fucking shit with his beast form and whatnot.
I mean, him being a Jinchuriki, I think that's the name for the people with, like, that beast inside them.
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
It doesn't help. Like, you know, also I learned this recently. He's a reincarnation of a god, apparently, like Azura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Because he didn't have enough bullshit going for him. Yeah, throw that in there, too.
And
there's
Sasuke's
no
Ishra or whatever. Yeah. It just... I don't like that was, like, introduced, like, right before the fight, really, right? Like...
It was dumb.
It didn't need to happen, but whatever. The fight was just so, like, over the top. Like, the end of the series, basically, like, fight. It's just, like, everything you think about Naruto, this fight is, like, encapsulates it. Flashbacks. Insane. Yes, I know.
It encapsulates everything about Naruto. Flashback.
It's true.
It's all just flashbacks.
The fact that then you both went, it's true! At the same time is just so perfect.
I like Naruto, but it just, yeah.
Anytime you see Sasuke and Naruto on the screen at the same time, you're like, oh boy, here comes a whole episode of flashbacks. Well, let's recap what happened to them for the past, like, 10 years every time they see each other.
We're the same, but we're different because I searched out friends while you wanted to take it all alone. But I'm your friend, Sasuke. Let me in your heart. It's like, I gotta kill you to kill everybody. They all be afraid of me, so they'll stop fighting. It's like, Sasuke, you're an idiot. What the fuck are you doing? That's what the fight's about. Sasuke wants to kill Naruto, so he doesn't have any friends anymore, so he can be evil and be the most evil person in the world, and so no one fights. They all have to fight against him. That's his plan. Sasuke's so stupid. Naruto's like, that's stupid. I'm gonna beat your ass and make you my friend again. It's like, and guess what happens? He does it. He beats Sasuke's ass so good, they're friends again.
But
Isn't that great? You could just beat the friendship into somebody.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
That's what Naruto's all about, I guess.
That's how I make my friends.
They blow
Love
their
me!
arms off, too.
Yeah, they use their signature weapons, the machine gun and the, what was it, the Chidori?
His machine gun?
No, Rashay, I can't how does he say it?
Rasengan.
Rasengan. Yeah, that. The ball thing.
I'm gonna use my special technique, machine gun.
What the
Shoots
fuck?
him in the ankles. Like, what the fuck? Block this with your chakra, bitch.
I mean, Sasuke shoots arrows at him in his like Susanoo form, which is just a giant like demon form that coats his body, and like this god, like he got it from his brother. Or do all Uchiha have it? I don't remember. I don't know that much about Naruto.
You have to get it by killing someone that you love.
Okay, there we go.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
killed
bad.
him.
And then taking their eyes.
Totally worth it.
What?
Rip the
It's
eyes out of
Naruto.
somebody else.
Yep. As soon as you kill someone that you love, you get it, and then you take their eyes. You know how? And so you pretty much it's just passed down to you basically by
Wait a
killing
minute.
your loved ones.
Also, no, you think it like pointing their eyes, you think it's surgical. No, they just pluck it out and put it in their eye.
It's so gross.
It makes
You
no
put
sense.
in their eye?
Yeah, they take their eyes out with their hands, pull their own eye, put their eye in, and it works.
The fuck?
Yeah,
That's not how
Magical
eyes
eyes.
work.
That the magical eyes do.
magical
Do
shards
not have
of
like
eyes.
nerves connected to the ends that
Nah,
have to
nah,
be like
it's magic.
plugged into your brain? It's just
It's
Automatically
chakra.
just
nothing on it?
happens.
Just chakra. It just works.
Naruto is some bullshit.
I love it.
It really
it's so
is.
bullshit. I love it.
fuck?
But
Great
yeah.
show.
Also, I just want to bring up this point too. In the fight, like Sasuke uses Naruto's hands to do his own jutsus with. I just love that, like seeing it, like holding
What?
hands, like doing, like using each other's hands to do it.
Yeah.
That's like forcing your friend to do sign language for you.
Yeah, use sign language with me so I can blow fire in your face. Like Jesus Christ, it's so cool. It's just so cool.
Let me tell you, there's a character in Naruto. He has eyes on his arms. Once they all
Daizo?
disappear, yeah, he dies.
What?
Is
He
that
killed,
show
like, a
about
bunch of
powerful
Uchiha to
eyes?
take their eyes.
And he can only use them once. So he's got like 9 eyes and he'll just die after he uses them.
Sasuke killed that guy.
Yep. Wasted all of his eyes and then stabbed him.
How does one just use an eye? Like, what does he do with the eyes?
He
They're
uses
just
Sharingan
attached
with
to
it.
him.
Yeah, he lets
Yeah,
you
it's-
see the future basically. Like you predict your movements and like figure out your jutsus and like all that bullshit. Eyes are a really big thing in Naruto. It's really
They're
dumb.
huge. Wait,
There's
like,
like
so
the Sharingan, the Bakugan, the
Bakugan?
Rinnegan.
Is Bakugan a game that you play with ball monsters?
I might have said it wrong. I don't-
Bakugan. Yeah, it's I don't know how it's the
It's
one
what
that,
Hinata has, but whatever.
Yeah. It's all
Uh,
stupid, but it's
It's all
really
stupid, but it's
fucking
really
funny.
fun.
Is
It's
the
But,
guy
but-
with
but how does he like physically use the eye? Does he like?
what do you mean?
Does it just
He
like open and then it
You
does
mean
it?
the
Does,
eyes in his
does he
arm?
like pull it out? Like does
So,
he
okay.
load it into like a weapon of some kind?
No. You
Does he
just
just like squash it? and
They're
then,
all
the
like,
open.
pupils
They
just
work.
change. The pupils change, and that's how they use their different.
You
Sharingans.
mean Daizo, right? Or you mean the guy
Okay.
with arm, eyes in his arm? Or
Well, I'm
like,
just talking about any eye in the whole anime. It's just
yeah, like normal eyes, and it turns into like the Sharingan or these other bullshit eyes. He's like activate it like a skill.
the guy
you
with
just,
like the
like,
eye
really
arms,
focus
like
it.
that when he uses it, like did they go away, or does he
Yeah.
just have like a non-functioning eye on his body after that?
Oh yeah, well they just close. That's it.
Oh, all right. Well,
He-
I guess that makes sense.
His whole thing's dumb too. I don't want to talk about him.
Oh,
I just want to talk about Naruto and Sasuke right now.
yeah.
Just I don't know. Like the story is about like Sasuke leaving, and like the entire show is about like we gotta get Sasuke back. And it's like later on, it's like we gotta kill Sasuke, and Naruto's like, no, I want to save him. It's all about that. Like Naruto, Sasuke is a dead end. You have to cut him off. He's bad. It's like no, he's my friend. I'll save him. And eventually Sasuke is like, I'm gonna kill you, so I don't have any friends anymore. It's like you're my friend. I fucking hate this, but it's so good.
Oh, and the best part about it, he's killed millions of people. And what does he do? That the whole village accepts him back into like, oh, hi Sasuke, how are you doing? Like this
No,
dude
they wanna
murdered
kill-
people.
They want to execute him. I'm more like, if you want to talk about that, talk about Orochimaru. Don't. Ugh, so stupid. But Sasuke's like, you should execute me. He's like, Naruto's like, I worked it over. It's all cool. He's like, I have to go.
It's
take
just
that-
genocide. Nah,
Yeah,
nothing to
that's
worry
what I'm
about.
saying.
Come
And
on
Naruto
back, pal.
convinces the whole village that like, oh no, it's Sasuke, he's cool, and they're like, oh, all right. And there's some grumpy people about it, and they should be grumpy.
Yeah. It's so. Anyways, the
Wow.
fight scene's good. Like they do all their techniques, go to their top forms, use like god level things. Like these two are gods in that world at this point.
They
They,
literally
like,
are
Drop
gods.
meteors on on the planet. Like Sasuke does the fucking Sephiroth's like final move, the meteor thing, black meteor, I don't remember what it's called, but he just drops the meteor on the planet, and
Wow. So ridiculous.
Wow.
Naruto throws a bunch of tail beast bombs at him, or
He-
tail beast
he
Rasengans.
clones his tail beast form, like 14 of them, and then Sasuke shoots arrows and kills them.
No,
It's-
that's anime.
That's the most anime
It
thing you
really
could ever
is.
see. Watch that fight.
That sounds way more anime than the bullshit you were spewing out earlier, Chipper.
Oh yes, absolutely.
But yeah, just to end off this, like the ending of the fight is them using their signature moves and is like clashing one last time and blowing each other's arms off.
Yeah, a nuke goes off
What?
in their hands.
They lose their arms forever. In the
What
even
the
in
fuck?
Boruto, they both are boosting their arms. Sasuke never gets a new arm, and Naruto gets a like synthetic arm made by the first Hokage's genes or something.
Yeah, it's like made out of wood and something.
It's
Oh.
so
What
Oh.
the fuck?
I definitely, you said jeans, and we just talked about My Hero, and I was really seeing denim.
Oh.
And I was like, what? Why is this arm
He
made
just
of
has like
jeans?
a denim arm. He just has like a pant leg that like flops beside him. Like
Wow.
anime. That's anime.
That's anime.
Anime.
It's the
Alright.
most anime thing you could ever watch.
Wow.
I want to watch it right now. I mean,
I'm-
probably after this call. All right,
I might.
Chipper.
So mine, like I said, it's not as weeby or as like flashy showy. It's more of like the build up and the resolution, which is Aang versus Fire Lord Ozai.
Hell yeah.
Hell's yeah, that shit was fucking fire as a kid.
Oh,
Literally.
hell
It's
yeah.
true. Yeah, it's true.
Just the everything's leading up to this moment. Aang and Ozai are fighting. You're like, this dude is the baddest motherfucker ever. Versus my boy Aang, who's so lovable and so peaceful.
Mhm.
And the conflict that he has to face of I don't want to kill him. And everybody's like, there's no other way. You have to kill him. He's like, there has to be another way. And so he's just fighting, and he's just basically buying time to figure out a way how to beat him without killing him. So it's mostly just Aang like running away and deflecting shots, but they're like deflecting shots in such cool ways. Like they're just throwing like waves of fire at each other and slashing it, and Aang's like covering himself in rocks and trying to run away, turning into a tornado. Well, not summoning a tornado and then riding that. And then like when he turns into his fucking avatar ball form and just like wrecks havoc.
We were forgetting a part though. You're forgetting a step because he couldn't activate the avatar state anymore because his chakras
Yeah.
were misaligned. And there's the part where he's like blocking the fire shot. He put himself in like the ball of rocks.
Yeah.
Because and the
Oh,
fire
yeah,
lord's
no,
just
I
like
know.
blasting that shit with fire, and then it like breaks through the rocks and it like pushes him back. And then his spine gets like impaled by like this pointy rock that's behind him, and then it like realigns his chakras, and then he goes into avatar state, and then he makes a ball out of like all the elements at once, and it's like the coolest shit ever. So
Yeah.
fucking hype, yeah.
I was just naming the parts that I like. The ball part's really fucking cool, only because of Ozai just
Could you-
laying into him with fire.
Yeah.
Could you
Just,
explain
like,
the ball part for the audience?
Yeah, I mean, so Aang is running away from Ozai, and he gets cornered basically because Ozai
No.
caught up to him. Yeah.
Oh, I meant the element ball stuff. Like
Oh,
what he
Oh,
does
yeah,
after
yeah.
he like gets into the avatar state. Like
Yeah, he just makes like a sphere of all of the elements around his body, and he's just flying through the sky with like
the
his
most
glowy eye
pure
bullshit.
version of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're fighting in like a bunch of like rock pillars and whatnot. And at one point, Ozai is running away from Aang like a little bitch, and Aang just like that doesn't crush him, but like I think Ozai somehow like blast fire through it or something. But Aang just closes two columns together like super fucking fast, which is like it's pretty extreme since beforehand they were just like blasting pieces off of the pillars. And then all of a sudden, Aang's just like, I can just move these motherfuckers like they're nothing. And just smashes them and just like hitting Ozai around the whole area. And then the whole like resolution of it is Aang finds a way. He corners Ozai, is about to kill him, gets out of his avatar form, and locks him up in some rocks, and then takes his powers away, his firebending powers.
Yeah.
So it's like, whoa, Aang actually did it. He didn't have to kill him. That's so rad. I also forgot to mention, he has a chance to kill him, because Ozai shoots lightning at him, and Aang is about to redirect it back at him, but Aang, being a monk and whatnot, he's like, I can't do this, and deflects it away and like drains himself of energy. And that's when Ozai starts like kicking the shit out of him and just goes ham and starts throwing shit down fire and lightning at him.
Yeah,
it was so cool as a kid.
It's cool now. Like, I mean,
oh yeah,
and the resolution of the fight too.
Yeah, like the fact that he didn't have to kill him, like he stuck to his morals and then he found a way out of it, and like he straight up like takes the dude's bending away, so he's just like completely useless, and they like throw him in prison at the end of it, and like he can't fucking do anything for the rest of his life.
It's so fucking rad, and watching it as a kid, just like, because when you're watching it as the episodes come out, and you're just like, Aang throughout the whole, like once he finds out about he's gonna actually have to fight Ozai, he's like, I don't know what to do, like I can't kill this guy, like I don't want to fight him, and everybody's like, you have to. So like for out the whole like last 3 seasons is him just like facing this conflict of, I have to fight him and I might have to kill him, and he's like, but I can't do it, and he just like he does a whole bunch of like soul searching and tries to figure out a bunch of shit.
Yeah, it's just like the
leads up to
perfect. Yeah, it's literally the perfect ending fight for like any show ever.
Yeah, and it's just like the perfect ending for, like, shows do not end well at all. Like, it's very rare when a show ends well, and I'm not just talking about anime. I'm talking about just regular TV shows,
just anything in general.
And this one literally had the perfect ending.
It did. That's one of the many reasons that I think Avatar is the greatest show of all time, because like, yeah, most endings suck. This had the most like epic, like climactic, well done ending, just wraps everything up and you just feel good about everything that happens.
Yeah.
Like it is the perfect ending. And it is like, yeah, and that fight is like the perfect ending fight to a show.
Yeah, that whenever Ozai first like lands on the rock and he's standing face to face with Aang, it gives me chills still, just because it's like, this is the first time they're meeting, and this is supposed to be like the biggest build up ever.
Right, like they've literally been hyping up the fight since like the first episode of the show, and it's 3 seasons later, and they're finally actually meeting each other and fighting. It's like, it's insane amount of build up, and the payoff is so good.
The fact that they pulled it off was good, because if they built up that much hype and it was just like a stupid fight, and it could have very well been that, because that's how a lot of things end.
Right. And that's why Legend of Korra at the end of the day is not as good, because the finale for Legend of Korra and the final battle for that is just like, it starts out super epic and then it's just really anticlimactic and then it's just kind of over, and it just kind of leaves you feeling like empty.
Unsatisfied.
Yeah, unsatisfied. So yeah, Avatar though nails it. Absolutely nails it. And that is one of the, I mean, if I was going to pick another fight other than the one that I picked from that show, it would have been Aang versus Ozai, because like that is arguably the best fight in the whole show. I mean, it's what the whole show built up to. It's just done so well. So hell yeah.
When Nickelodeon was like, it's the final episode, and you're like, what? Oh my god, this is what we've been building up to forever. Like, my little child body cannot handle what's about to happen on the screen, and it couldn't.
Oh my god.
You died.
Anytime I rewatch that show and I'm rewatching that final episode and that fight, like I still get goosebumps. Like, it's so good. Even when I know everything that's gonna happen, like it's too good. It's too good.
Yeah. It's my all-time favorite anime and my all-time favorite anime fight.
Hell yeah.
All right, Tyler, tell us your favorite anime fight.
Time to close it out. So, obviously my favorite anime is like Avatar, Legends of Korra, all that stuff. Second favorite, My Hero Academia. My third favorite anime is Mob Psycho 100. It's an incredible show. It's made by the same guy who made One Punch Man. and it is better than One Punch Man.
Ooh.
And if you don't know what the show's about, because I know Cody, I think you've seen season 1. Yeah. But these two guys, I know you don't know what the show's about. So basically, it's about this kid who's an Esper, so he's like a psychic, right? And he's like the most ludicrously overpowered psychic ever to grace the earth. But instead of like using his powers to like be an unstoppable god or whatever, he's like a middle school kid. His like life philosophy is just like having psychic powers doesn't make you special. He's like, just because I have like psychic powers and I'm really, really overpowered, like I still can't talk to girls very well. I'm still really weak and scrawny. I'm socially awkward. Like, so the whole show is about him trying to like better himself as a person so he can fit into society, and then like showing all these other espers who are just like these power hungry morons that like, yeah, having psychic powers doesn't make you like a good person. Like it's just it's meaningless. Like you have to have other like outlets and other things to do. So it's very like the writing is very deep and it's very well done. And it's actually like one of the few animes that's actually funny too. But this fight, and I had a lot of fight. I could have made an entire list of just fights from this show because there's so many good fights in Mob Psycho. But I ended up going with the season 2 finale, which is Mob versus the boss guy. I think his name's like Tochiro or something. I just call him Boss Guy.
Wow.
But so the reason I'm picking this fight, and it's because he's the boss of an organization. It's not because he's like, oh, it's the final boss, even though it's kind of both, I guess. But the reason I'm picking this fight, my number 3 on my list, I picked because it was all visual flair and no substance. My number 2 I picked because it was all emotional impact and emotional weight, and the visuals were still good, but like nowhere near my number 3, right? This is the culmination of both of those aspects put together. Fucking stellar animation that'll give you a boner and emotional weight to back it up. So this fight, and up until this point in the show, Mob is completely uncontested. Anytime he shows up, similar to One Punch Man, like he's not gonna have that hard of a time destroying anybody because he is just so overpowered. But this guy who's the head of this organization that's trying to take over the world with these other espers, he is as powerful as Mob, if not more powerful. So like this is the first time that Mob is like, he actually has to like really, really try. Like he's had tough fights before where he couldn't just completely win like instantly. But like this is like, he might not even win. So the fight itself is automatically just like super, super cool, like super high stakes. And the whole time, like he never wants to fight. He's a pacifist. Like he just wants to like show people that like, you know, like violence isn't the answer. Like you shouldn't use your powers to attack people. Like we just need to work it out. And of course, this boss dude like is not having it because his whole philosophy is like, I am the most powerful person in existence. Everyone is going to bow to me. I've spent my entire life making sure that I'm the most powerful person on the planet. And I've been saving up all of this energy for years and years and years and years, my whole fucking life. I've pushed everyone out of my life because I'm the only person that matters. And like, you know, having like ties to other people is just like a waste of time. Like I can accomplish whatever I want on my own, and I don't need like anybody else. And like his whole organization like turns against him after like Mob shows up. So he's like the only one, but he's still like, I'm just gonna fucking take over the world. Who cares? And Mob starts fighting him, and automatically it goes from like 0 to like 1,000,000. Like the second the fight starts, they're like flying through the sky and like just fucking like hitting each other, doing crazy bullshit. And then Mob, it like realizes like he can go all out with this guy and like actually have a legitimate fight, and he starts like enjoying it, which is like not at all his personality, right? So, because usually he's just really timid and whatever, and he doesn't like doing it. And he starts like getting like super into it, and he's like laughing, and like they're just doing all this crazy bullshit in the air. And then everyone on the ground, like all his like friends and everyone who have been helping him, they're just like, man, like this shit's on another level. Like I can't even tell what's happening. This shit's insane. And then like he sees his brother on the ground and got like hit by like a like a stray blast or whatever, and then it kind of like takes him back to reality. He's like, wait, I can't use my powers to hurt people. Like I'm giving into my power. This is like against my morals. Like this isn't who I am. And then they get into this big like moral like thing. Basically, like the bad guy at this point is trying to convince him that like he should turn out like him, and Mob is trying to convince him that like, no, you should just be a regular person and all this stuff. And then proceeds like the giant fight where they're just doing crazy bullshit. Like he's using telekinesis to throw skyscrapers at the guy. Like
Wow,
they're
okay.
just like
Yeah.
legitimately just throwing full skyscrapers. Ends up encasing the dude in a small moon made out of skyscrapers, and then Mob like throws it at the ground, right? And then like you think he's just like incapacitated, like he's gonna hit the ground, whatever. All of a sudden, evil guy shoots up out of the moon, like he just breaks out of it, and then like just punches Mob down to the ground where the building moon is gonna land, and it crushes him. I have a lot of notes for this. This is gonna go on for a while.
Nice.
And then like so the boss comes down to like where he hit him, and Mob is like just like kind of lifeless. He's like barely conscious, it looks like, and the boss just kind of like picks him up by the shirt collar, and then Mob's like, I'm sorry, I'm not strong enough to like to beat you. I'm not strong enough to like change your ways or whatever. And then he's like, yeah, that's fucking right, you're not. And then all of a sudden, like the dude starts walking away, and then his body just starts getting like contorted. Like his like bones are like twisting in on themselves. It's like his neck snaps like 3 times. And then Mob is just like at like 100% rage mode. He's like, I'm not strong enough to change you, so I'm just going to have to give in and kill you. And, like,
Fuck.
starts twisting this dude's body up in like knots, and then it's like super weird. And then he starts letting out like all of this energy because he can't contain it anymore. So the dude like uncontorts and basically like explodes into this like giant like ball of energy. And then it launches out like all these like massive like laser beams that are like the size of like city streets, and one of them like hits Mob, and he's like flying through the sky just like getting blasted by this. He's like, oh my god, I'm gonna die, this is insane, like I'm actually gonna die. And then he gets like flashbacks of like all of his friends who've helped him. He's like, no, I can't die, my friends are counting on me. And he like stops himself and like pushes through it, and then they like get blasted down into this like underground section. And then the boss guy at this point has turned into like a fire demon. And then
What?
yeah, and then Mob, and this is like my favorite part of the whole fight. So like he's been in this body improvement club at middle school of like just these like ripped like athlete guys, and he's been trying to like get stronger like physically so he can like feel better about himself. And there's this moment where like the fire demon boss guy like rushes at him to go punch him, and then Mob goes like, he gets like these big shiny anime eyes. He's like he's like, body improvement, fight on, and then they just like punches him and their fists like meet, and it causes like huge fucking shockwave. And then like they keep fighting some more like underground. It's like super sick looking, and then they do another thing where their punches meet, but this time it like breaks his fucking arm. And then the boss guy just like completely loses control of all the energy coming out of him, and basically starts turning into a nuclear warhead that's gonna go off. And Mob realizes this, and he flies out, and he's like, hey, everyone needs to leave like right now because this whole city's about to explode because this dude just turned into a bomb because he can't contain all of his energy. And they're like, okay. So everyone starts rushing out, and they're like, wait, where did Mob go? And he goes back inside to the guy, and then he puts a barrier over him and the other guy. And the dude's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I am not going to leave you because you still need to change, and like you're about to die, and I'm gonna make sure the blast doesn't like hurt anyone else. And then they get into this like philosophical like conversation, and then he tries like absorbing like the energy out of the guy, out of the boss guy, right? And then it causes like this big like massive explosion, and then you see flashbacks of the boss guy's like past, where you see like he like pushed his wife away because he was like so obsessed with like power and like, you know, doing everything on his own. And then he realizes that he made a mistake and that he wants to like change. So then he's like apologizing and everything. He's like, no, I don't want to die. Like, I need to change. And he's like, yeah, I need to, like, change too. Like, it's cool. And he tries, like, absorbing all the energy out of him. And then, like, he can't handle it. And it explodes. And it creates this giant, like, mushroom cloud. And then that's the end of, like, the actual fight. And then you find out that, like, the energy got, like, absorbed into, like, some broccoli seeds in his pocket. And it turned into a giant stalk of broccoli that's, like, 500 stories tall.
What the fuck?
And they survive. And then, like, they take the bad guy off to jail. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm going to change for my ex-wife. And I'm going to be better now. And it was like, yeah, just very heartfelt. And the fight scene itself is just like really, 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 really good animation. And there's so much crazy bullshit happening. It's just so good. And that was the longest like description ever, but it's so good. It's so good. Watch Mob Psycho 100 because it's like a fucking amazing show.
That was like the most anime thing you could have said. There were like laser beams and transformations and
I mean, that's a
really weird broccoli.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
Yeah.
then getting really big anime eyes and using something they've gotten from their past. And it was just the animeist thing.
It is.
Yeah. And it's great. And I know no one else has any feedback because no one has watched the show or this fight, but like, please watch Mob Psycho 100 because it's a fucking
I
amazing
really
show.
recommend the show too. It's really good.
Yeah. And that fight is just it's a really good payoff for like the end of that season. It's like the best way they could have ended it. And it's so just pleasing to look at. All of the fights in that show are just pure just pleasure on your eye holes. Like I had such a hard time picking which fight I wanted to put in. There's like 5 fights that I wanted to include, but yeah, that one has like the perfect balance of like tons of emotional investment and emotional weight and just gorgeous animation to go along with it. And that is why it's my number 1, uncontested. It just encapsulates everything you want out of a good anime fight.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Look
All
at
of
that.
these are crazy fights that we picked. They all sound like homeless man's fever dreams.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that what anime truly is?
I think so. They just in Japan, they just ask homeless people on the street, "Hey, can you describe
They're very-
what
very
would
common
happen
people.
in your dreams?"
I really want to like go and look up some of these scenes now from
I know,
what you guys
right?
talked about because I want to like experience them
I mean-
and know what you guys were saying.
Yeah, I've been looking up some of your guys's, and it makes me want to watch.
I mean,
At
we
least those
got our
fights.
number 1s. Maybe we can say some honorable mentions, like
Okay.
ones that didn't make the list.
I'd like to mention, so this one's a good one. It's Cory versus the Russian Bear from Cory in the House.
Good one. We're gonna end the podcast now.
All right.
Cody, did you actually have an honorable mention you wanted to say?
I just want to talk about Ippo a little bit. It's a
Who?
boxing anime.
Ah,
I can't remember the full name. I just know Ippo is like the main character. This is about this like random boy who's like, I'm this random guy. I'm good at boxing, and he learns to be a boxer. Goes through like these crazy fights, meet these crazy people, and it's like every boxing match lasts like a super long time, and it's like super ornate, like actual boxing styles, and like, oh, he's clinching to like regain like stamina. Oh, he did a gut shot, like stuff like that over and over. Like there's this fight with like Ippo's like senpai, like this guy named like Takamaru or something. He's like this huge man, and is like against this evil guy named Brian Hawk. The fight's an hour and 30 minutes,
Jesus
and it's like
Christ.
there's no filler.
You literally just said there were 2 characters named Takamaru and Brian
Brian
Hawk, and I'm
Yeah.
really I'm loving the contrast in characters. That's why I laughed. I'm sorry.
I know you're fine. It's
No.
ridiculous. He's like an American like analog. Like, oh, this guy's American. Women. I'm the best. Ha ha ha. Like, it's a really good fight. This show's ridiculous. I think at one point this guy punches a steel beam into a mountain. That's how he trains his fist to be strong.
What the actual fuck?
Yeah, like you see his like fist bleeding during the match because he did it like the day before the fight. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And it's like there's scenes where like, oh, I have to cut weight, so I can't eat or drink water for like a week. And he's like super skinny because he's like trying to cut weight, like training while this is going on, like passing out. It's like this is like real life boxing right now. Like they have to cut weight like that. That's crazy.
Damn.
I really
I
do
think this-
appreciate
yeah.
it when like anime like do like really hit it with the source material. Like with box, it sounds like they like really cover like actually boxing when they're
They
doing
do.
it, and it's really cool that like they cared that much. It shows that they like actually enjoyed like the thing that's
They put a
based
lot of
on.
heart and soul into it, and like they
Yeah.
want to like show in a good light. Also, that Takamaru guy kills a bear with his bare fist.
Dope.
So
fuck.
that's the thing that happens in it.
Hell yeah! And
Yeah.
I
with
gotta
killing
watch this.
bears, I
No,
think.
there's like they kill him and his friends.
I
Like,
fully
have to kill you.
support killing bears by hand.
And then they ate him. Well, it's a mama bear, so they do stuff with the cubs too. I think. So it was a weird scene.
Eat your
Should've
heart
picked
out,
up
PETA.
the cubs, chained
Yeah.
them together, used them as bear chucks to beat the mom to death with her own kin.
Oh my god.
That's
Well, yeah.
like the primo way of doing it.
I would have to automatically. That's on my honorable mention. There's like millions of others, but that's like the one I like recommend to like see. It's just crazy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Dope.
Hell yeah.
Well, thanks for sticking with us while we all weebed out really
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. This
Thank y'all.
podcast has been going for 2.5 hours, I think.
Time is only an illusion.
Time is an illusion. You know what else is an illusion? Subscribing to our channel.
Don't tell them that. Don't tell them it's an illusion.
Segue. Yeah,
Doesn't
if you
that's
want to
how
see
that
more
works.
content like this, with people like us, subscribe to Talks a Lot Boys. We do this podcast occasionally, and we do random topics that are not always weeby. Sometimes they are just plain nerdy or random, but they're
Always good
always
time.
stupid. So you can always count on that.
Yeah.
So hope you liked it. If you did, give us a like. Put your top 5 anime fight scenes in the comments below because we would love to hear them. And we have been the Talks a Lot Boys, and we will talk a whole lot more next time. Bye-bye.
Hello.
Bye bye.
Oh.
Bye.